Hello. I think we're moving in here to League of Legends finals. Exciting. I am
Hello.
actually here casting for the first time for League of Legends. I have not been keeping up too much, so hopefully Stormbringer can help out a little bit there.
No worries. We're here. We are good to go. It is grand finals, baby. It is the very last match. It is best of five. It all comes down to this a rematch between Tempest Gaming and I believe Unk. They returning from making a lower bracket run, so they're coming back in. We're feeling Flash Nerd. How are we feeling today?
Ooh, I'm feeling excited. I'm excited to see some good League of Legends coming out from these two teams who, uh, well, since they made it this far, they gotta be having some good showings when they come out in these matches.
Absolutely. I think we already saw a taste of this back in the lower bracket or the upper bracket finals. So now coming from making their return, I think it's going to be a good time here. As we're getting into the draft here, we're going to do a quick shout out to our sponsor for this tournament. Once again, reminding everyone what these teams are playing for. They are playing for a $500 gift card from sponsored by none other than Gen.G, in addition to several gift cards for I believe Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick, thank you again to Gen.G for sponsoring this League of Legends tournament. We're gonna Gen.G is one of the pioneers in education development for esports excellence, and they've recently established the Gen.G Academy, and they're dedicated to mentoring programs on collegiate campuses, and especially starting by sponsoring events like this. So once again, huge shout out to Gen.G. Thank you so much for sponsoring this.
Shout out Gen.G.
Yes. All right, and welcome back. Sorry, we had to cut to a quick little break here, but now as we are starting to get into the draft, Flashlight, what are you feeling about this draft so far as you're looking at it?
I'm liking what we're seeing. It's a lot of tanks on both sides of the competition. We've gotten that Swain and Cassante on Team Tempest, and that Galio and Renekton and Olaf getting a lot of strong bruisers that can deal a ton of damage in the front line, backed up by these scaling ADCs like the Sivir and the Jinx. So gonna see probably a lot of front to back gameplay coming to these team fights. So excited to see that.
No, I'm in agreement here. There's a lot of front to back as you pointed out here, but I also like to point out the scaling compositions of these different teams. Like obviously you have the Jinx and the Karma that Jinx that absolute threat, but we've also seen Sim on the Swain in the past already like tearing through the enemy teams, just getting solo fed. I believe they went 12-0 in that match, so I'm surprised that Team UNC they let it through, but. I mean, obviously they have a scaling composition of their own. They have the Sivir, and this time they have a little bit more burst damage with the Renekton and the Galio. So I think we'll have to see how it plays out, but I think there's a lot more front to back, but it all comes down to that late game composition, I think.
One thing I'm going to be interested to see in is on Team Unk, they have these units like the Galio and the Olaf and the Renekton who, beyond normal bruisers, are actually much more adept at getting into that backline, especially Olaf going to be immune to the enemy CC and Peel here. So I'm interested to see if they're going to be able to get onto that Jinx and maybe stop their momentum before they can even get it going.
Yeah, no, it's very well possible here. I think, yeah, you have a lot of coverage with in terms of peel. You have the Crescent Guard from the Zinzao. You have the Karma and the Jinx, but you also have the Cassante all out that can separate the enemy team. But on
Oh yeah.
the other hand, you also have the Galley. You have the Hero's Entrance that can they provide a much needed knockup. So that could disrupt any possible thing. So I'm expecting a lot more back and forth compared to the previous game or the previous match in upper bracket finals. So I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be close. I hope so at the very least. I mean, it's
Something
best
else
of
I'm
five.
interested in thinking about besides the team fights themselves are how they're going to do in these 1v1 matchups between the mid and top lanes. What do you
Yeah,
think?
no.
Who's got the advantage, especially against this Cassante versus Renekton matchup?
Ooh, I mean, personally, I mean, I haven't really seen too much. I mean, I want to say Cassante purely because Cassante to me is a broken champion. I absolutely despise this
Oh yeah.
guy. I it's so disgusting to watch, but that's my personal opinion. That aside, we've seen how Cassante just has so many different ways to outplay it, but Renekton is a force to be reckoned with as well. We've seen how a very fed Renekton can absolutely just shred through any possible tank. So I think Cassante is favored, but we'll have to see how this all plays out. I know that Cassante has definitely gotten the best of like even the best players in pro play. So we'll have to see how they play it throughout this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is going to come down to that individual player's skill. So
True.
anything could happen as we go into grand finals here.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and as we are finally loading into the game here, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's already looking pretty spicy. Swain, again, I'm excited to see because they've clearly this is not their first time facing each other. So they know that Sim is going to be a threat. Are they going to try and focus him again, or is Sim going to be able to scale once more? We'll have to see.
Now, something I can't help but wonder here is who actually has the advantage in one of the most important parts of these team fights, which is going to be the skin advantage, right? On one side, you've got this really cool looking prestige Swain skin, but I mean, they've got Broloff on the other side. That's going to be a tough thing to beat.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, hey, you have to in this matchup of the drip, the fashion. Who's mogging the other team here? I think. I mean, everyone's rocking the prestige skins, the best of the best. You have Broloff, you have Chosen to the Wolf Swain, a lot of very fancy skins.
Mm-hmm. I can't. Meanwhile, we've got the naked Cassante and Galio, no skins over there. Might
Hey,
actually seem like more of a power move than you might initially think. Those characters and their original splash arts are. They
I mean,
got
hey,
aura.
yeah, they do have aura. I mean, it's like how Faker just doesn't use a skin. He's like, oh, it's just distraction to the game. Like let skill speak for itself. So it
It
could
is
just be
possible
very
we
well.
have this Galio with no skin in the mid lane trying to emulate that classic Faker pick that we've seen so many times.
Yeah, I think we'll just have to see here. But we're gonna cut to a quick break here as we're still loading into the game. There's a few things that we need to do, but we will be right back.
We love League of Legends.
we're back, getting straight into the action here, going back into the game. We had a little bit of a bug here, but now we skipped a little bit of the boring parts here. We're now starting to get to a little bit early into the laning phase here. Microwave Matt taking a fair bit of damage now with Aspen as their supports here. As we're taking a look at the bot side here, now going to go over to the top side. Jirachi,
ooh, that's a big trade.
Big trade, locking in with Conqueror. We've seen this match.
Oh, another tower shot. Renekin's actually dead.
This is gonna die. First blood already going over to Tempest All-Stars. That's not what you want. A fed Cassante is only going to continue to scale throughout the game. That's a horror, a misplay from the Renekton here.
And they just like unsuccessfully were weaving around that tower range, almost being able to like trade right outside of it, but gets hit by 2 tower shots in one fight. That's definitely not possible to win when you're at that level.
Absolutely not. What a misplay. They're like taking, I believe it was 2 tower shots there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that was not ideal. But yeah, no,
thankfully on the other side we're seeing actually no, this is on the other team though, so even more dominance coming out from this blue side as we see Jinx and Karma just absolutely dominating the lane. Sivir and Sona not being given room to breathe.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this bot lane be absolutely dominant in previous matches. Jesus in the Bottle, like, credit throughout this entire tournament has been absolutely phenomenal with their plays and getting space for Boster to just, like, absolutely decimate through like, especially in these early laning phases. There's just so much pressure from this bot lane duo.
I think it also comes down to a little bit of the draft, right? Because we've got this Sona pick who is one of the strongest characters when you get into that late game, but right now when they're not even level 6, they're going to have a lot of catch up to do when they're facing such an early game character like this Karma. Got a lot of poke, absolutely hard to deal with.
I mean, it's really interesting to see because, like, for many, Jinx Karma is kind of considered to be a late scale champion, you know? Doesn't really have too much damage early up front, but in comparison, you have a Sivir and a Sona that are both just so dominant in late games, but very weak early. It's kind of on the back foot here because now there's so much pressure. Crescent Guard, hold on, taking a fair bit of damage onto Ethel the Tree there. We've seen that mid lane matches go poorly in the past, but they're playing it safer this time around. But yeah, no, as we were mentioning previously, like, I think it really does come down to late game skilling, but it is kind of funny. Hold on, Jirachi gonna pop the ultimate.
Seeing another solo kill in the top lane.
Yeah, they're gonna try again. Jirachi popping the ultimate. Conquer does not have enough mana. I don't believe they're gonna go all out. Gonna actually use up the flash to get away, but Jirachi's gonna flash in return, but isn't able to secure the kill. They're taking another tower shot. They're gonna be 1 HP in a dream. They're not eager to go in again. Barely gonna have to back away, but Conquer does not have flash, but does have the ultimate, the all out that is available. So we will have to see how it goes. They're just going to back off for the moment there as Preston is going to secure the first Drake here. Kings are coming out there. This bot priority is decimating through Team Unk over here. Yeah, no, that's what an.
And we're really seeing the issue that with picking this Renekton as going against your true counter pick, the tower, of course. That is, I think, 4 tower shots throughout this game. Honestly, I don't even think Cassante is doing much damage to them.
Yeah, no, that's the funny thing. I think the Renekton is kind of just his own enemy here with this tower damage. So, not exactly the most ideal state, but you know, yeah, it's funny enough that I was watching, I believe, LoL Esports. They put out a post asking the bot laners who's their least favorite support to play with, and they said Sona. All of them said, I don't want to play with the Sona. I'm FFA.
I mean, just look at what it does to your laning phase. I can't help but agree. The Sona is a strong pick, especially when you get later to that game, but right now you just have to deal with this absolute weak side state in the game, and when your top laner at the exact same time is also getting solo killed in the top lane and taking 4 tower shots, that means your jungler doesn't have much to work with, as they probably have weak prio all throughout the map.
They do, because they have very weak top priority. There's no bot priority as well. Olaf in itself is relatively, it requires a lot of scaling as well, so you want to go for that early farm and a few roaming ganks. But at this state of the game, I feel like if I'm in the jungler position, I'm looking at, like, okay, guys, we have Sivir, we have Sona, we're just going to scale into late game. You see them get solo killed? Oh.
But how many objectives can you give up and say, don't worry, we scale, before all of a sudden, bam, your Nexus is gone too? Can you give that up?
I don't know, but we're about to find out here as it seems like they're opting for the don't worry guys, we scale up mentality. Jirachi actually going to use the ultimate there. Little Fish is going to be fine the way there. Conker going to go all out. The hero's entrance is going to come on through there to save the day, but Sim is also up here to roam around and save the day there. A lot of damage there. Conker getting chunked out. Aspen is also hovering around. It's a 4v3 there, but Jesus in the bottom is also there. They're going to go straight in. Sim is going to pop the ultimate there. CC immune from the Olaf, but Little Fish is going to go down. Jirachi's next on the menu, but the Sona finally comes through. Three-man crescendo. They are taking up the tempo here. Rooted is going to come through there. Ethel is going to get choked out very low, but Sim is going to take the tower shots this time around there. Crescent going to flash away from the tower. They're going to take the plate. Super Mega Death Rocket almost finishes the job. Close. But my goodness, a bloodbath of a 4v5 or 4v4, but somehow only one kill throughout that entire fight, Flash Nerd.
And actually, I think red side coming off with more than just the loss of the life, as Grubs is going to go straight to that blue side. They have full control of the top lane river, and resetting with the teleport is nice to get that lane advantage back for the first time this game, but that's not what you want to see, especially when you're already behind in this game with these champions that all need to make to the late game.
I mean, already, yeah, absolutely. Even though it's only 2-0, I mean, Tempest Gaming already has a solid 1.5k gold lead as it is. They're already starting to scale up and get these advantages. And with the objectives, they have 3 grubs, they have the first dragon, and I have a feeling that's only going to continue here. As you're taking a look at the mini map, I mean, it's all blue for vision control. There's very little red.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna take any map space, they're gonna have to just walk in and pray.
And to be honest, when considering there is a Cassante and a Sim on Swain, I don't think you want to face check that blind, but you know.
Yeah, I would rather just sit under that tower.
Yeah, I think that's kind of their only option. But I do actually like to highlight like Aspen on the or Aceman on the Sona, like they actually were able to land a 3-man crescendo, so that actually did create a lot of space for to back off there. So it was still, we've been dunking on the Sona pick, but it actually did come through. Not too much damage, but in terms of utility, it did help a lot.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the Sona is not the only thing on their team that needs to scale up. So although they were able to make that crowd control work out in the team fight, walking away with no kills is gonna feel pretty bad still.
Yeah, it's still a little bit, but you know, it could be worse.
Yeah, I mean, that Sona ult might have just saved them from even more damage, as they might have mitigated some damage that could have come out, gave maybe 2 or 3 kills on the blue side, since they had most of the control for the entire fight.
Yeah, I know in the previous matchup there, all it took was one topside fight, and it got Sim a quadra kill on the same Swain exactly, and that was just the end of it. But in
almost saw history repeat itself.
It doesn't seem like it will. That with that top fight, they're actually able to make it out here. Hold on, Jirachi is going to pop the ultimate there. Cassante is going to go all out. Conquer is unstoppable. Little Fish is here to try again. Jirachi can be very low, but it doesn't seem like it'll be enough. Going to have to flash away. Conqueror is finally going to be shut down. The shutdown going over to Jirachi. Or no, not Jirachi. Going over to the Olaf.
And Olaf is one of these characters that if you give them the gold, they are able to carry. And if they reach a certain level of strength, suddenly they become unstoppable, as they just have a button that makes them immune to all crowd control. So this is a good start for Olaf to get that train rolling, and if they can get that ball rolling all the way down the hill, suddenly we might see a little bit of hope gleaming in the eyes of Red Team here, as Unk hopes to crawl, and claw their way back into this game.
I mean, it's still relatively early, so it's not, they aren't in the depths of despair just yet, but it is a sign of new life. At the very least, they're able to get themselves on the board for the first time.
And it does equalize the gold as well, a little bit more.
It does, slightly. Slightly. It's not completely equalizing, but it is closing the gap slightly, and it's, again, gaining some little bit of momentum that they can get for the ball rolling here. But actually, as 2 Drakes are up for Tempest Gaming here, they do need to start prioritizing objectives and trying to get more control throughout this map, because otherwise, suddenly, your Tempest Gaming has Soul, and it's like, okay, what do you do from here? But actually, hold on. Jason in the bottle is going to get the root onto Aspen. They're actually going to do this. Crescendo's going to come out, lock down Boaster, but there's no damage, not enough follow damage there. Jason in the bottle is going to have to flash away there, but Boaster is just roaming around. Rent-free is able to get so much damage, but not enough to secure the kill.
We're seeing the effect of Sona there. They've made it to the point where they're actually a functional character, and they're able to help out their fellow laner, and they're able to, I think, come out a little bit on top out of that 2v2 fight in the bot lane.
Hold on, Crescent is actually here, gonna posture for a gank, but they recognize he's there, so they're gonna back off and play it safe for the moment there. But meanwhile, up in the top side, Littlefish is posturing for another gank of their own here. But Conquer not eager to try that one again here. So actually, we are going to see the roam into the mid lane. Crescent in the 1v2 versus Ethel. Unfortunately, Sim is going to pop the ultimate here. Ethel does not have a way out, and that's going to be a kill going over to the Swain and the Feats of Warfare, going to Team Tempest Gaming.
Wow, and that's like, getting that feat so early is just showing how much of this early game they've taken control of. I mean, not a single objective going over to the red side on Unks here. And Tempest Gaming All-Stars is, yep, they still got that early game tempo going, and they haven't been stopped yet.
I mean, hey, yeah, I mean, it speaks to the skill of Tempest Gaming as a team here. This is their all-star team, and they're letting it show here. They're very quick on the turn there. They recognize that, hey, okay, bot lane is not going to be able to find anything. Top side is not too much. They're going to play it safe. The jungle is up there. All right, let's go for a gank mid. And they're able to make that decision on a win, which is very phenomenal. They have to hold on there. Beast in the Bottle is going to be posturing up top side. But thankfully, Jirachi will be playing under tower. So, not eager to give anything just yet there. But
yeah, not too optimistic about their chances of getting a successful dive in this situation, since I'm sure Renekton still has a lot of utility here to make sure they stay alive. Got stuns, possibly an ult and a flash.
But as we're taking a look at the items here, actually, this Swain 2 and 0 already has the first item, the Blackfire Torch, and the Kimono locked in. And they're already starting to create a sizable gold lead for themselves as well, not to mention the 2 Dark Seal stacks they have on the board there. Thankfully, Ethel did build Morello, or the previous ones here, so a lot earlier than it was in the previous matchup, but I think it's going to be very crucial.
Yeah, but you have to also think Galio building these things like the Morello is going to slow down their tankiness a little more, and since Renekton is not really in this game just yet, they're going to be providing a lot of the front line for their team, and if they fall over just a little bit too quickly, we might see them get a little steamrolled in these coming team fights that are really important, because they're running out of dragons that they can just give up while they try to scale for the late game.
Absolutely, but thankfully for the moment here, Team Unk actually does have a fair bit of vision on the board, and throughout the map here, so they actually do have a fair bit of vision control there, but meanwhile, Crescent is going to be going over to, I believe that is the Rift Herald, so they're just going to clear off those objectives there and get some much needed control. Has, you know, still relatively chill as we're heading into the mid game there here, but as Conquer comes down to hopefully finish the job there. But they do know the Team Unk, they know that they're there, so they are coming on through, but it's not going to be enough there as the Rift Herald will be secured for Team Tempest. Another objective going into their pockets there.
And you can't be too happy about that if you're Unk. I mean, it's 4 objectives into the game now, still yet to even try attempting a fight for one of them. Besides, I guess that top lane fight was sort of fight for grubs, but relatively uncontested Tempest Gaming here, just going to keep scooping up these objectives, getting them almost on cooldown as they're making use of their early game advantage really well here, and getting those scaling objectives that allow them to stay strong even as the opponents get to that equalizing of the items in these crucial breakpoints.
I mean, hey, I have to ask, like, you know, in your experience or in your opinion, if you're on Team Hong, what's your way back into this game? Like, because you know that obviously we're all behind in farming gold. Like, there's not too much here. How do you get back into it?
I think when it comes down to it, you just have to believe in your team's, like, micro ability. Like, they have the comp that's able to clutch out these team fights. They get a really good Galio ult here, maybe get some engage with the Sivir ult or a Sona ult to stun the enemy front line. Like, if they can get a crucial team fight here right in front of an objective, they could turn the tide of both the gold advantage and their early game momentum in their favor. So
actually, hold on.
I think they're just going to need to see some good micro.
Yeah, TV is coming through. They are going to try and finally make a play for this dragon here. They're going to drag it out here, but both teams are posturing here. Ethel is going to be locked in engagement there, but Crescent is going to go on in and pop in the Crescent guard there. The Hero's Entrant is going to come through, not going to find anything. Jirachi is locked in, trying to take down this sway in there, but Sim is just staying alive there. The rest of the Team Unk is very low. Ethel's the first to fall. Little Fish is going to follow, and it's a horror for Team Unk. Jirachi will fall. It is already going to be an ace at 17 minutes into the game. Going over to Team Tempest.
No. And that might just be the nail in the coffin. That's the 3rd Drake going over. They're at Soul Point, and the entire enemy team is getting aced. Oh, the goal is swung so far into the favor of Tempest Gaming here.
Oh, not like this, Flash Nerd. It can't be this early. It's only 18 minutes into the game, and it's 8-1 at Soul Point already.
Hey, on the bright side, the quicker that the enemy team gets Soul, you might be able to steal a random Elder Dragon and do a full T1 random win.
That is true. I mean, the classic T1 Baron flip, Elder Steal. You know,
We never know. Never know.
You never know. I'm okay with it. I don't see a Varus on this team though, so you know, I have my doubts, but you know, let's see if they can pull it off.
What about
in
the
LCK
classic
match.
Olaf axe steal?
That's true. That is true. That is true. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah,
But
but
we'll see.
one thing that doesn't seem to be happening is Team Unk here getting very many kills, as solely Tempest Gaming getting most of the tempo here in this game. And I mean, if they just keep this up, it seems like a shoe-in victory.
You don't have to do them like that, man. they have won. They're on the board. They're on the board.
They're technically on the board.
They
Olaf getting
have
that kill
something.
top lane a while ago, but they did
They
get
have-
flawless aced in that team fight we saw.
True, but something is better than nothing here. As Conquer is going to be running for the hills there as Team Unk look to try and find their way back and try to find another kill. Ensemble going to go all out to make their escape there, and the rest of the team is coming on through to save the day there. Olaf is going to pop the ultimate, going to go CC and Moon, but it's still going to get rooted right as the ultimate ends. Micro moving back is on the back foot, but is getting chased down by Crescent on the Xin Zhao. It's not going to be enough there. Little Fish is going to try and find their way out of here. Aspen is going to use the ultimate, going to try and find their way out, but Crescent is going to be able to land and secure the kill. But it's stolen by Jesus in the bottle, but meanwhile, it's just not enough.
Oh, and I mean, Team Unk thought they found a pick here. Maybe K'Sante, not as safe as they thought they were, but I mean, it's K'Sante, man. You cannot burst that guy down quick, and they go all out and just show that they will not yield. That is the pride of Nazima right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely here. And this, I don't want to be the Doomslayer or the the one signaling the doom of Team Unk here, but it does feel very tough to get back into this game here. Almost already 10,000 gold advantage here as they are looking to secure Otacon. It seems like everything is going into the way of Tempest Gaming, and I wouldn't say it's not a perfect game, but it sure feels like one.
Yeah, as you've said, they do have that one kill.
One kill, one kill to their
One
name.
kill.
I think.
I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with you if you say you're betting your money on Tempest Gaming to take this win, but at the same time, we cannot be Game 1 Andes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
Here,
best
hold on,
five is far
Conquer.
from over.
Conquer caught out there, 4v1. All the ultimates are going to be used on through here, and it's finally going to get another kill over to Team Unk there. K'Sante finally falls, and a massive shutdown going over to the Olaf there. Olaf is the only one with kills here.
Yeah, but hey, they've just doubled their kills in this match.
True. After all of that, I know, you know, it just means that the possibility of an axe steal is very well possible.
Slightly more possible than it was
Slightly
already.
more possible.
Maybe moving from 1% possible to maybe even 1.5.
I dare say possibly 2. I think
Ooh.
we're going a little spicy here, but we'll have to see here as Gresham is going to go for another gauge onto Jirachi. Trying to dash away though, but meanwhile there is actually another engagement going on here. Going to join the fight there, but Olaf is going to pop the ultimate. It's not going to be enough. That's Crescent using the Crescent guard to actually push him back. And just like that, the Olaf will fall, and it's going to be a double kill over to this Jinx. And another kill going over to Sim. The flash going through, but it's not going to find it just yet. But the Herald is still up. They're going to drive on through into this tier 2 tower. My goodness.
I mean, Unk is running out of time. Running out of towers as well, as Tempest Gaming makes their way into the base with this Rift Herald. Shelly, some people say.
Yep. I mean, Shelly here, they're actually going for more. Crescent Guard's going to go on through. They're just bursting Ethel down. The Gallery
might be
is not
ending
going
the
to last
game.
long. They can't even play the game. They just going to go down just like that. And just, Tempest Gaming is already knocking at the doors of Team Unk there. They're already, the first inhibitor will fall, and they're looking for more. All 3 towers are going to fall as well as they're moving. They're heading towards the Nexus. They actually might be posturing for an end here.
Yeah, I mean, who needs the soul if you're already this far ahead of your opponents?
I would, yeah. If you're 16-2, like, do you just like end it quick? Rip off the band-aid.
Oh, no, they're gonna bleed him out slowly.
Nope, slowly but surely there, but Conquer is going to get slowed out. They're going to try it, but Little Fish is actually stepping way too far forward. Is going to have to use the ultimate and try and get away, but, you know, they're just going to opt to clear the wave. But, I mean, Dragon Soul is up soon. The last dragon is going to be up very shortly. And it seems like it's almost 13k gold lead, I believe.
Oh, and
yeah.
I think the only player with kills has just been caught out with no ult.
Unfortunately.
And there goes the hope of that axe steal.
Yeah, I think we're going back down to 0.5, but you know.
Interesting how you have the 0.5% chance, while Olaf is currently on a death timer.
True.
Wondering how that's gonna work.
True. I mean, hey, you never know that little proc of an ultimate, but you know, it seems like they are going to secure this, and Exodia might be on the menu for this game, as they're going to secure all the objectives here. And I think as Baron will be up very shortly, in less than a minute's time there, the only thing that Team Unk can really do is just try and farm? Question mark?
I think they're probably out of time to do even that.
I think
imminently, I believe their Nexus will explode any minute now.
I think at what point do you say, guys, I think we should just go next, just like, you know.
If only surrendering was legal.
If only. But no, it's like, unfortunately, they do have to play this one out. And Crescent, oh, that's just BM. He's dancing on them.
That's just cruel. That's just cruel.
That's disrespectful, man. You can't be doing that.
They're still going.
They're still going. Crescent's just dancing over in the mid lane, like at the inhibitor, while the rest of his team is just breaking down their third inhibitor turret. It's like, come on, man, you can't be doing that to them. You can't be doing them dirty like that.
Yeah, no, I think Tempest Gaming, barring a miracle, is gonna be ending this game. And what do you think went wrong in this game for Ankh, as they fell so far behind so early?
We'll talk about that in a minute. As actually the first is the fall, as Sivir goes down, Jirachi going to be very low, as the rest of Team Ankh retreating back to their Nexus. The only safe haven they have left in this game, #1. The Nexus turrets will fall. They're going for more. Ethel tries to be the hero, but they're not going to find it. Crescent just dives on into the Nexus, but the root is not going to be enough. Ethel is going to be low. They're out damaging the heal from the fountain, but it's not going to be enough, as in the end, that is going to be game #1 going over to Team Tempest Gaming, the all-star team, showing strong in this first ever match.
And what an absolute steamroll it was. I mean, there wasn't even, like, I think a moment of true hope past the 10-minute mark for Team Unk here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a dominant showing. I mean, and to go back to your question from earlier, like, how does Team Unk get back from this? What went wrong? I think it's a lot of culmination of things. I think, honestly, their initial game of, like, late skill and composition didn't really shine through, because they didn't have much priority. They didn't have a lot of pressure in that early game, so that just allowed for Team Tempest to keep forcing them out of these objectives, away from the dragons, away from the void grubs. And because they're able to get such a dominant pressure in the early game, there's just nothing left that they could do.
And I think having these scaling comps is by no means bad, but when you have everyone in your team going for that scaling comp, suddenly you're in 3 losing lanes, your jungle's not able to do anything on the map, and I think it comes down to, I think they were a little too greedy in that draft, hoping for a few too many characters that require getting to that late game in order to be strong. Although, to be fair, their one character that didn't need to scale too far in the late game did take 4 tower shots, just a couple minutes into that game. So that might have been part of why it all fell apart so quickly.
I think that's a little bit unfortunate of a misplay, but nonetheless, at the very least, they tried their best. But, you know, just a lot of things that went wrong. But it's only game #1. It's a best of 5.
No game 1 Andes.
No game 1 Andes. It's still best of 5, so it's not over yet. So we're going to cut to a quick break as we are gearing up for game #2. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere too far. Grab a snack, grab a drink, and we'll be right back once we're back.
Stay tuned.
The most memorable moment, I think, for me was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time. I think the most memorable moment, I think for me, was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time. I think the most memorable moment, I think for me, was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time. I think the most memorable moment, I think for me, was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time. I think the most memorable moment, I think for me, was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time. I think the most memorable moment, I think for me, was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time. I think the most memorable moment, I think for me, was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time. I think the most memorable moment, I think for me, was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time. I think the most memorable moment, I think for me, was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time. I think the most memorable moment, I think for me, was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet.
All right, and we are back, getting straight back into this game number 2 here. We're in the draft phase. How are we feeling after that first game, Flash Nerd?
Well, I'm feeling not too optimistic in Unk's performance last time, but this might be their time to turn it around as we're seeing first pick Unara come out. This has been a very strong champion as we've seen them show up quite a number of times in professional league esports as they've just been released to the public in the esports scene.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know about you, but Yunara has been a little bit of an underwhelming pick every time I see it in my games. Perhaps this might just be me and low elo, but the Yunara
Might just be a skill issue.
Might just be a skill issue, but in pro play as well, it seems to be a very tricky champion because a lot of pros are still figuring out Yunara's strengths and weaknesses here. But we're actually going to see Team Unk pulling it out in this game number 2 here, along with a very interesting list. Remember it again, a reminder, it is a fearless best of 5, so there's no repeats. Once you play it, it's out. You can't play it again here. So, Yunara, you have the Nidalee, you have Annie and Alistar as well. A lot of A's on this team.
Yeah, and that Ambessa getting picked means we're going to see an Aatrox versus Ambessa top lane here. This is a battle of the egos. One of these people are going to come out of the game looking probably pretty strong here.
I mean, hey, but I mean, after that first showing, I think Tempest is they're feeling pretty good. They're feeling confident about this.
Hey, don't count out the Unk top laner out too quick. If they don't take as many tower shots, they might be able to turn it around this time.
I believe so. I think we'll have to see. Will the tower get the best of them? I don't think they will. I think they'll learn from their mistakes here, but especially on Aatrox, there's a little bit more of a leeway here with the regeneration and all the healing that they can do. But we'll have to see it play out here. I do like to looking at the draft here, Flashton. Who are you prioritizing? Like, who do you?
I cannot lie. I think Tempest once again coming out with insanely strong team fight composition here. They have that Wukong, Victor, and Kaisa, as well as that Nautilus for the engage, and Ambessa maybe for some backline access. They basically have anything you could possibly ask for. That's looking like a professional draft basically coming out of Tempest here. Every unit on that team looks very good.
I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement here. This is a solid front to back composition. There's so many ways they can engage. They have a lot of utility and mobility. So they have a lot of ways that they can win or play these fights here. Meanwhile, Team Unk, not to count them out yet as well, but they do have a lot of engage. You have the Annie, you have Tibbers that can provide some much needed CC along with Alistar. I mean, we've seen some of the best, like such as Keria on the Alistar can absolutely decimate through these different team fights. But so we'll have to see how it all
can't
plays
milk
out.
those. I think Unk's team comp is gonna rely on them getting those like singular picks to start out a fight. If they can move it down to a 4v5 before Tempest really has a chance to set up those huge combos, they might have a chance.
True. I mean, hey, once again, a lot of these champions, if you play them right, like a Nidalee, if you get a really good spear, that could be an entire third of the enemy's team or like of the enemy.
I mean, hey,
Just
maybe we're watching Canyon's alt account here playing on Unk's
true,
team.
true. I think we'll have to see if they're able to channel Canyon. I mean, hey, you do have the Gen.G blessing here, sponsored once again by Gen.G. So who knows? They're
Yeah.
watching. You have to play to the best of the best here,
Cannot
and
embarrass yourself in front of Gen.G, especially with their how much they emphasize esports excellence and our pioneering education development.
yeah.
Shout out Gen.G for sponsoring.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, as we're getting back into this draft, I like to take a moment to look at the bands. Like, Unk, they understand that Sim has been an absolute threat throughout most of this tournament here. So once again, just like the very last time they met, three bands going over to the mid lane, in lane. So Syndra, Akali, and Orianna band, along with the Varus and Fiora. So they recognize this guy's a threat.
They
And
were
on the
scared for a pretty good reason there. I remember in that dragon fight that basically decided the game with the ace coming over to Team Tempest. That Swain was in the front the entire time, and they didn't even drop below, I think, 25% HP.
No, absolutely not. So this guy is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, not to mention, I mean, I did a little bit of research on Tempest actually. Tempest Gaming. This is an actual tier 2 team. Like they've been in NACL qualifiers tier 2, tier 3. So this is a very experienced roster. And Sim is in. They are a challenger player as well. I believe number 133rd out of the entire region. So
Oh wow.
they are. You can't discredit this guy. This
Well, hey,
like
Tempest might be experienced against some young bloods in the scene, going up against that tier 2 comps, but have they fought uncles? Huh?
true.
Maybe some
True.
old bloods what you need to take these guys down.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, I kind of like we'll see. Do they have a little bit of life left in them? Do they have the ability to learn these new tricks? We've seen it before, but can they do it yet again here as the draft is once again finished up, and we are gonna prep to go into the game. We're gonna hop to a quick break as we are getting into the game, but we'll be right back once we're back in action.
See you soon.
Most memorable moment, I think, for me was the first day when we got to meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that we got of what Gen.G was going to have us do for the next couple of weeks, and just a preview of the learning. And I just remember being so excited on that day for all of the work and people that I was going to meet over that time.
All right, I think we are in. Hoping to
Welcome
see
back here.
something of a new look from Unk here.
Yep, game number 2 here. Unk, go for fresh start. Let's see if they can bounce back here. Finally getting back into this game. Let's see if they can turn this one around here. Now finally back in action here. Once again, level 1 here. What do you think in terms of macro? What do you think Unk switches up this time around? Obviously, they try to opt for more scaling comp this time. But what do you think they can do better?
I think playing around their weak side a little more here. We saw them not really able to capitalize on any of their lanes, which is kind of what happens. I think seeing them skew their team more in favor of one lane and kind of sacrificing another one to get more of a steady balance in their team rather than just evening out and losing out all around might be a good way to get some advantage in the early game, in the way that you didn't have before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I also I said this yesterday during the early stream of the last time these two teams have fought. I think hold on, Littlefish actually gonna use the flash, trying to get on through, falling over into Crescent, gonna try and find a warden on the way through. Let's see, the spear is gonna connect.
Wow!
That's gonna be first blood going over to Littlefish here with the spear connecting, and that's what you need. That's exactly what you need for a jungler, for especially like Nidalee, and that's exactly the the tempo that Unk needs for this early game. Their much needed priority. Flash being burned from both Littlefish and Crescent, but they aren't able to get away. Massive kill going over to Team Unk. Exactly.
And I mean, the jungler on the side of Team Unk has been the standout player for them. Even last game, while they were getting absolutely steamrolled, their Olaf was able to get 2 kills, the only ones that they had. So hopefully they can get even more than that and maybe carry their team to their first victory in this stage. I mean,
possibly
in this match.
Possibly. I mean, it's already looking much better than it was previously, so
I see the immediate Dark Seal being bought by the Nidalee.
Immediately, they're like, oh, I'm getting kills this game.
Now that's confidence right there. That's confidence.
A confidence. I mean, hey, you need to go into this matchup with confidence. After that first game 1, a very dominant showing, you have to respond back in kind. You can't be backing down or getting tilted this early in a best of 5 here. Hold on, G's in the bottom. It's going to land the hook onto Aspen, going to get knocked up, and that will be a kill going over to Boster. Oh no, meanwhile, up in the top lane, Gen.G is getting solo killed by Conquer. And just when we think it's going better, Team Tempest
I can't help but be scared that based on their position in their death corpse, I think that they might have taken some turret shots once more.
No, they just can't get enough of it. The tower shots are just too good, man.
It's just too enticing. I can't even blame them.
But yeah, you can't even blame that. But that's unfortunate for the side lanes of Team Unk. There once again, priority will be given over as the top and bottom lane will gain some much needed pressure and vision control over these top and bottom rivers.
Thankfully, their mid lane at least has been somewhat equal in this laning phase, keeping up on that CS pretty well with the Victor, which is what you want to see.
Which is good. You don't want to be giving any advantage over to Sim, especially not on a Victor who would just hype infinitely scale to oblivion. But so you can't be doing that. So I like the fact that they were able to at least hold their own. And I was gonna say earlier, something that Unk should be doing, because they recognize that Sim is a threat. Yeah, here we go. Aspen is coming up mid lane to the mid lane to provide some much needed support for Ethel. I think you need to care for this mid laner. You need to make sure that Sim isn't able to get the jump onto Ethel and can't get ahead. Because once again, this is a challenger player that we're talking about. One of the best in the region. So you can't be giving them all that much here. It's actually Gen.G and Conquer. Conquer, very good movement here.
Ooh,
dodging the
just gets that cannon.
Yep, barely able to get the cannon. But
I was getting a little sweat on my face there. I was worried for them.
A little worried there, but thankfully they're able to get it. But yeah, hold on. Jesus in the bottle is gonna go for the hook. Not gonna land. Not gonna connect it, as Microwave Matt and Aspen gonna opt to play it safe for now, down by the turret. I mean, because to be honest, there's not really much else you can do. You have no vision throughout the if you push up into the river. First Drake is up. It's very likely that Crescent is most likely there if you're in the perspective of Microwave Matt and Aspen. But first Drake is gonna be Chemtech, but we'll see what the rest of it is. No one's gonna start it up just yet.
I do have to say, in these laning phases, despite Sim being this terrifying challenger play in the mid lane, we're often seeing these laning phases kind of falling apart on the side of these bot lane and top lane matchups. As for both games, we've been seeing dominant showings from the Tempest Gaming side, as Unk bot lane and top lane have not really been able to find too much success even solo dying in their lanes multiple times without ganks.
Yeah, but there is some much needed support now finally coming on through from the Nidalee Littlefish coming on bot lane to try and provide some support there. They are paying for the dragon there as Crescent is going to be heading down there, but so are both of the mid laners here. So we might see a skirmish very soon, but no, I'm in agreement. I like you mentioned that obviously these side laners not having too much success here, so this could be the difference maker if they're able to find some much needed support. But
And I think,
we'll have
especially
to
with
see.
how they've drafted, they need that clutch coming out from this bot lane. Especially on the team Unk here, a lot of their damage is fully teched into this Yunara. I mean, they've got a lot of burst characters on their team, but without that Yunara, they're not gonna have that damage going throughout the longer team fights, and they might just, if this Yunara falls too far behind, they might not be able to keep up with the tankiness that's coming out from Team Tempest Gaming.
Absolutely. I mean, we've said before they're able to scale, but it's a matter of time if they can even make the scaling. Jesus in the bottle is going to get caught out, and that's going to be another kill going over to Littlefish here. This Nidalee is starting to scale, so that's a much needed kill there. So it does seem like their odds of making it to the late game and being able to scale looking a lot better.
And that's a
Looking
huge
lot
pick, as
better.
we're seeing Unk take their first objective of the series. Actually, finally gonna
Yeah.
get some prio on the map.
Oh, they grew up so fast. Finally taking a dragon.
I'm so proud.
I'm so very proud of them. They are, yeah, no, first dragon of the game. So again, still very early here, even despite being even in gold. Tempest Gaming still edging out in terms of a gold lead by just by a little bit here. I mean, Littlefish will be taking the first Drake there, finally securing that and the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, they're getting this gold lead. It's due to their dominance in those side lanes, getting that laning pressure with the better CSing. But thankfully, this jungle advantage that we're seeing, that impact from Nidalee here, getting that 2-0 KD spread, they're able to get the first objective of the game. And if they can keep it up, they might be able to do a little bit of what we saw Tempest Gaming do in the last game.
Hold on. Jesus in the bottle, flashing to try and get the hook onto Ethel. Ethel gonna be able to quickly react and flash away there, but hold on. Sim is going on through. It's gonna flash and use the ultimate as well, and that will be the third kill going over to Sim and actually going over to Team Tempest, and that is the first piece of war there and mid prio. So now Crescent's gonna be able to start out these void grubs for free. But hold on, actually, Littlefish will be walking on forwards, trying to go up and try and meet them in kind and try and contest this. But the rest of the team is falling on suit, so I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get it here. It's actually going to try it and fight the way the rest of the team is coming on through. It's going to be a 4v5 here, but the rest of the team has respawned there. Crescent is going to use the cycle and going to try and find the engage onto Matt there, but Aspen is going to be very low, going to try and find the knockup. But actually, Crescent goes way too far forward, is going to fall to the Yunara, and Jirachi is going to use the World Ender to get the kill onto Sim, and that's going to be another kill onto Grunkier, and Jason Nabal is left all alone against this Aatrox, and that's going to be another kill going over to Jason the Bottle, or yeah, Jason the Ball will finally fall, and that's actually a much needed win going over to
And now we're seeing the impact of that Aatrox pick. That was a monster fight from them, as well as this Nidalee. Both of them dealing so much damage, getting to that backline and taking out the important players on Team Tempest. Even though they were able to get those grubs early, because Unk got there a little bit late, weren't able to contest the actual objective itself. But by the time they got there, all of a sudden, they were able to turn this fight around really quickly. And they've got the damage they didn't have last game. They're able to take down some players.
absolutely, and
Finally
I
winning a
like the
team fight.
pattern. I like the recognition there from Unk as well. They realized that, hey, Sim already used the flash and the ultimate on the Annie previously. They already, like, Ethel is already respawned. They're already able to make their way back. So in the end, it's actually Sim that gets that gets played by all of that, because they, the rest of the team, Aspen's able to get the knockup onto there. Even though Microwave Matt is getting like engaged on by Crescent's the only one, and they're able to hold him off. So that gives time for Jirachi and the rest of the team to come in and just clean up the fight. So in
Yeah,
the
that
end,
flash advantage is so much more important when you're going up against a team comp like the one that Unk has drafted here with that Annie and that Nidalee. If you get caught out too far, they're gonna stun you to oblivion and decimate your entire HP bar before you even have a chance to play.
absolutely. So in the end, even though Team Tempest, they do get 2 of the Void Grubs, it's not all 3, and in the end, they trade 3 kills in response for it. So it's actually not exactly all that worth it for them. As now the Aatrox is back in the game, they're able to do damage. Now that they're not taking turret shots, they're actually going to use the World Ender here. Jirachi going on forward. Conquer trying to find their way back.
Not the
but
turret.
is still going to get hit by the Q3 there. They're still going to try to take the turrets. Flashing on through. They don't care about the turret shots this time. Will survive and get the kill in the end. But meanwhile, down in the bot side, Jason the Bottle is going to be knocked up there. Aspen on the Alistar. Going to pop the ultimate and trying to find their way there. Microwave Matt is absolutely frying, doing so much damage. Will claim another kill as Boster is going to just run away and try and find their way out of here. Can't do
Microwave
much more.
Matt absolutely living up to their namesake here, cooking the enemy team. Oh,
hold on. Ethel and Tree gonna use Tibbers, but Sim is gonna use the Arcane Storm. Gonna try and find another kill there, but isn't gonna find too much. They're not gonna
bit of a
use
handshake
skill kill.
there. Your ult for my ult.
Little handshake there, but it does seem like that Jirachi is in the area. They might be trying to go for more, but no, it doesn't. I think they're gonna turn around. They know they can't just be diving on a challenger player just like that. They might have vision, but thankfully, but still, nonetheless, a much better game state for Team Unk, all things considered, compared to last game here. They're up in kills. They have a sizable gold lead of their own now. They do have the momentum that is swinging in their favor for this game number 2.
Yeah, it's such a different look. Finally having some success on these key players. Especially I'm seeing a lot of impact coming out from that Yunara pick, which has been so strong in the all levels of esports as far as I've seen. And yeah, that Microwave is absolutely cooking on this character.
Yeah,
so hopefully they can keep it up.
3-0 on this Yunara. They have the kills that they need. They have the first item, the Kraken Slayer, still relatively behind in CS, about 30 CS down, so it's not the most ideal. But
they're keeping up in items.
They're keeping up in items. They have the much needed support that they need, so which is relatively good. At the very least, they're still able to hold their own. But meanwhile, hold on. Yeah, there's all things considered. Even though they're behind, Team Tempest still has a sizable CS lead. Sim has 115 CS. The rest of the team is not too far behind. So
for now, it's gonna be a bit of a lull in the game as these players wait for the next objective to fight for.
Yep. Oh no, Jesus in bottle. Gonna Hex Flash. Trying to get the engage. Gonna find the hook onto Aspen. But Crescent is here as well, so it's gonna be a 1v or not. It's gonna be actually 3v3 as Littlefish is here as well. But Aspen to be very low. Gonna find the Cyclone onto Littlefish, and this Nidalee has stepped way too far forward, and Aspen just gets hit by the hook, and that's a double kill, a triple kill going over to the Wukong. Unfortunate for Team Unk, but luckily Jirachi's able to get a solo kill up the top lane, so it's not all for naught there. Ethel is going to have to flash away from the Arcane, or not, it's going to have to run away from the Arcane Storm. Sim going to flash. Ethel trading a flash of their own is going to be able to get away. Possibly, actually does able to land Tibbers a lot of damage as Sim is taking and burning away, trying to find, almost gets the kill. But
both of them just surviving right on the edge there. And I think that was actually a much bigger kill for the Aatrox than just getting a little bit of gold, as they're able to actually push up top lane while the entire rest of the team is taking that bot objective. So able to do a little bit of a cross-map trade where otherwise I think they would have just fully been losing out in that encounter.
Yeah, absolutely. At the very least, it's something. Because it's really unfortunate because in that bot lane, they lost 3 players, the key players, both Littlefish and Microwave Matt, giving out their shutdowns to Crescent. This is going to be a monster-fed Wukong there as they lock in their first few items and components. So it's not ideal, but at the very least,
yeah, and I think that fight off a lot came down to actually their Alistar here was almost dead before the fight even started. They engaged fairly early and away from the rest of their team. They weren't able to get any support there. So by the time this Nidalee comes in with that huge damage spike, they're actually already fallen, and the entire team can turn onto this Nidalee now. And basically what seems like a 3v1 is Yunar's not even able to enter the fight as their protection's already been killed.
On top of that, it's really unfortunate because Littlefish, as Nidalee dives on into the fight there, but that's straight into Crescent's Cyclone and Jesus in the bottle, so they get hit by the hook. They just keep getting knocked up and they're immediately dead. So hold on. Actually, Conquer is going to have to try and get away. Actually, hold on. Jesus in the ball is going to flash on through. The ultimate's going to knock up Jirachi, but the World Ender is going to be used up. Littlefish claims another kill. Crescent is here with the Cyclone. Going to use it there, but Sim is going to come in with the Arcane Storm as well. This Aatrox is going to finally fall, and just like that, Conquer is going to use the public execution and try and get the kill. Is going to be able to lock it down as Aspen is going to be able to flash away. Still, as the dust settles, it will be a 1-for-1 trade. Top for support. Not the worst.
And
No,
they had a good
absolutely.
start to that fight.
did.
Aatrox and Alistar were holding off the team pretty well there, but we're just seeing the rest of their support not come in fast enough. The rest of their team entering the fight way too late, as 4 people on the side of Tempest Gaming are able to turn that fight around for them.
Yeah, no, unfortunate indeed. But at the very least, it could have been much. It could have been much worse. It could have been.
Oh yeah, they at least escaped with their lives, but a lot of map pressure is going to be put out here since they lost that team fight pretty squarely.
Yeah, absolutely. But TB will be used up here to try to cover that mid lane. But meanwhile, up in the top side, Ethel is having the worst day.
Ooh.
Just gets executed by Conquer. The flash and the TP being used.
And this one
up.
wasn't even public.
No, it wasn't even public, man. Just killed him off in private. Like, sorry.
Private
we're-
execution.
Yep.
Secret Ambessa ability. You gotta go up
Yep.
against an enemy Annie to do that, since
Nah,
it's a
that's-
bit of a poor taste to publicly execute a child.
That's a little messed up here, but actually, hold on. Aspen gonna dive on through, gonna find a knock up onto 2. Jirachi using the World Ender, trying to find an engage onto 2. The Q is gonna land at Q3. Will secure the kill. Sam is gonna be able to flash away, but Aspen will steal the kill onto the Nautilus there. Oh, come on, you can't be doing that as Alistar, man.
Wow, but we are seeing that World Ender is hitting hard.
It is, indeed. It's unfortunate Sim was barely able to get away, Jirachi not being able to secure the kill. Just by
But
the
that dive
speed,
worked
man.
out pretty well. They were able to basically take Victor out of the fight completely with that
They did.
that huge burst damage on that Aatrox. We're seeing a huge new look from the top laner on the side of Unk. Showing a lot different stuff.
Hold on.
Maybe since
Oh
there's
my
no turrets
God.
to get hit by.
Micro
Wow.
match just frying Boster. They will inevitably fall to Crescent and then Cyclone there, but still dominating the 1v1 in the Yunara versus Kaisa matchup. So even though they do fall in the end and for a 1-for-1 trade, still relatively good showing at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of an ego check. Not too much of the map is going to be affected by that kill on the enemy Kaisa, but you know what? Getting that boost in your mental is very important when you're able to 1v1 the enemy laner.
Absolutely. I think at this point in the time, like after that first game 1, going to game number 2, you have to take the small wins. You take it slow by slow, little by little. Because any loss can feel spiraling, and it feels like a drop in the bucket. But if you take it little by little, you focus on the small wins like that, you can slowly crawl your way back into the game in terms of mentality. But so far, again, as you pointed out before, showing a much better look in this game number 2. Jirachi on the Aatrox is looking fantastic. And you see
Oh,
what
yeah.
happens when you don't take four tower shots in rapid succession.
Hey, you know what? You live, you learn. That was call that a warm-up round in the first game.
Yeah. You just had to warm up. You have to get the
I will also say though, we have seen them take at least 4 tower shots this game. Thankfully
at
though, these tower dives are actually working now.
At least it's worth it here. Well, hold on there. Jirachi is going to get hit by the hook there, but Aspen is there to knock them away. So they're going to discourage any further engages. And actually, Honan Crescent is going to be locking down the blue buff there, as they're claiming so much needed mid-priority is the next dragon will spawn. 1-for-1 there. They're actually going to continue to fight this out. Aspen's going to on through. The ultimate's going to lock down onto this Nautilus. She's in the bottom, falling way too early as Littlefish will claim the kill there. That's their support that's now been claimed. And just like that, Tempest Gaming has to fall back. They have to give priority because they now know that they're in a 4v5 engage. And now, just like that, Unkar, they're going to capitalize. They're going to try and take this second Drake. It's not the end of the world, but at the very least, they're able to find something.
Yeah, and that's a really huge Drake there, as now they have Drake advantage over Team Tempest, and you know what?
Oh.
It's been looking pretty even this time. Not as
It
much
is.
of a stomp. Both of these teams have very winnable team fights every single time, and we're gonna see them actually take mid tower, which is gonna be a huge spike in tempo.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even realize that they had the Herald too. So it's actually massive for them that's able to get it.
Oh.
Not gonna find the next charge, gonna get smited, but Aspen taking a fair bit of damage. But able
Thankfully,
to
the one
back off.
piloting the Rift Herald was that Alistar, so they're just gonna be able to walk out, not
That's
too
gonna use the
worried.
flash to get away there. Actually,
Ooh,
Sim and Tempest.
bit
getting
more
their
expensive than
charge
we
up
thought.
there. Yeah. Ooh, that spear almost connecting, but thankfully they're able to make it out with their lives. Jirachi down in the bot lane is going to be pushing on through for the side lane, as the rest of the team looks to cover this top tier 2 that the rest of Tempest seems to be eyeballing.
I do wonder if Tempest Gaming is angling for an Otacon here. It's gonna be very early to take this.
It'll be a very early time, but they do recognize their strength. They have a very fed Wukong. And so all things considered, they do have significantly better front to back compared to Unk, and they know that they are able to dominate these fights if it comes down to it. So
Yeah, but we're seeing a presence coming up slowly from their spawn here. The biggest threat I think that they're scared of on the side of Team Unk is going to be that world ender that we've seen carry so many of these team fights.
True, and there's actually surprisingly no grievous wounds on the board actually. So
They're going to get run free.
yeah, but just like that as well, not to mention the Dark Seal stacks. Andy actually building Dark Seal as well. No stacks just yet, but the Victor does have 2. Meanwhile, Nidalee has 8, but hold on, Aspen is actually going to go on in, find the engage onto the buzz. Is going to be rooted and locked down. The rest of the 3, Aspen just way too far forward and without flash, so that will be the support actually going way too far forward and is going to fall, and that actually might be the call for the play for Otacon, as the rest of Team Tempest is going to walk back up to try and start up this Otacon.
And that's kind of what the cost of using that flash is. I don't even know if they really needed it to get out there as they were walking away. Like, a few minutes back, they were just running away from the tower, and all of a sudden, now they don't have a way to get out when it really matters.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like that kind of seems to be a trend here. And because we saw Jason Naballo in the past as well, they used the flash up and later was able to get caught out, which is why they had to give up Drake. And now it's the same thing with Aspen. The Alistar getting caught out, and now that's Otacon.
Now, at least we're seeing some cross map coming out here as they angle for that tier 2 turret for the bot lane, but not able to get it as TPs come out from Tempest Gaming, and they're going to have to be forced to back off here, taking their Gromp as their sole prize for what they've been doing over here on the side of the map.
It's a consolation prize. It's a consolation prize.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be too upset. I mean, Gromp is pretty good. Pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's something. It's something. Better than nothing.
It is better than nothing.
It does seem to be the name of the game here, as something is better than nothing there. But once again, I do like that it's a much more even game this time, Flash Nerd. It's a much more even game, which is exactly what we want to see in this best of 5. We don't want to be going home too early just yet. So it's a lot more closer of a match, and I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, I got juice left in the tank. I want to see some more League of Legends.
Actually, I mean, it's a fine Sunday morning here, or Sunday noon, actually. Afternoon is coming up. So it's a good day for some League of Legends to end off this weekend, as before we get back into the weekdays. But it's all right here, 13-11. Relatively even gold state, as actually Conquer, Jirachi actually is using the World Ender. They are posturing for Conquer. They're actually going to try and find their way through. Little Fish will find the connecting, and just like that, that is another kill into the pockets of this Nidalee. 6-1, 10 Dark Seal stacks. Hold on, Microwave Matt will be ulted on by this Nautilus, but is able to flash their way out. My goodness.
Yeah, that flash being gone might be pretty bad timing, as objectives are going to be coming up soon. They're not going to have it for the fight.
True, but at the very least, they're able to save themselves from getting killed off now, which would have been a massive shutdown or a massive momentum booster going over.
Yeah, but I like that look from Tempest Gaming. They're able to take out,
oh my
get
God,
a kill as well.
Getting killed, getting caught out yet again. It's always the supports. Why is it always the supports? As Alistar will fall, another kill going over to Crescent. It just seems like that it's kill for kill between these two junglers. Like, every time one of them gets killed, the other's like, okay, I'm gonna get a kill right back. And they just
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing a pretty clear pattern of here is right before these important objectives, Tempest Gaming is looking around the map, seeing if anyone's overextended, and Unk's not playing deserved enough, so they're oftentimes losing flashes or losing entire lives right before the moments that they need the most. So now they're coming into this fight with the late Alistar, and they're gonna have no flash on their Yunara, and I don't know if they're even gonna be able to fight this Drake.
I'm not sure either, but they do have to fight it, because otherwise it will, or no, it's not going to be soul point, actually. It's not going to be soul point for Tempest Gaming. Sorry, I had a little bit of flashbacks here. But, you know,
for the first time, Unk actually does have that dragon advantage, so
do
they're
have
getting a
to.
lot of objectives this game.
But they will be fighting for it. Hold on, Jirachi is going to use the World Ender, going to fight on through, but it's going to be stunned out. But hold on, Alistar is going to find a 2-man knockup. The Arcane Storm is going to come through. Etho will fall. The Arcane Storm is going to be massive. Flash is going to be claims another kill. Microwave Matt is frying, but it's not going to be enough, as that Arcane Storm is huge.
That is absolutely ginormous.
It's monstrous. You can't escape it, and that's going to be the ace going over to Tempest Gaming All-Stars.
Getting a little deja vu. Second ace right in front of the Dragon Pit.
Right in front of the Dragon Pit, and they're not even going to go for it. They're going for the Baron. Crescent and Sim, they know they're the most fed members on the team. Sim going from 1-1, going to 5-1 in no time flat. And just like that, that will be the Baron spawn, or the Baron for the entire roster of Tempest Gaming. That all-star, hold on, Jirachi is going to try and go for the steal,
Too
but
slow.
too slow. None, close but no cigar.
Yeah, this game's kind of falling apart for Uncure, and I mean, that was just a little bit of a team fight blunder as Aatrox goes into the backline a little bit too early, I think, as the entire team's able to turn on them and burst them down to 0 health before they can even get going.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not what you would like to see from your main man in the fight. You had the angle to turn on the jungler, but it was just far too early. And just like that, what used to be a dead even game has now cracked open, I believe, in favor of Tempest Gaming All-Stars. Because now, that Victor has gone from 2 stacks on Darksteel to 10, and everyone on Team Unk has almost no stacks.
And we're also seeing some important items getting built here. I mean, Victor's sitting around 3 items. They've built their Rabadons to go with their Darksteel. I mean, this Victor is almost unstoppable at this point, especially since you don't really have any way to access them, like through this really strong front line of the Nautilus and the Wukong. It's hard to really break through. They've built a pretty strong front-to-back comp, and you see what happens when you try to get around it, going for that flank on the Aatrox, and all of a sudden, you're toast.
You're toast, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, I think this might be the beginning of the end here. Is actually, hold on, Littlefish almost gets hooked. But yeah, no, because now, as it's relatively even in kills now, we're now starting to see the CS differential starting to shine on through. Littlefish, a solid 50 goal or 50 CS behind Crescent. And same thing for Yunara, 40 CS diamond. Hold on, Jirachi. Gonna find the, unfortunately, it's only onto the clone, but still a fair bit of damage going on.
They sure showed that clone what was what, at least.
Yeah, they showed him. Screw that clone.
That
Sorry.
clone will never again question the World Ender's reign.
Yep, unfortunately, but meanwhile, up in the mid lane, Sim is going to claim another turret, so the towers are starting to fall. The Arcane Storm is actually going to decimate Microwave Matt. Aspen tries to find some pace, but it's not enough, and meanwhile, the rest of the team is going to just claim the Alistar's life. And it might just not be enough. It just might be Sim that's alone. But hold on, Aspen is going to find the knockup. He's able to get away. Jirachi going to use the World Ender, but it's going to get knocked up by the Cyclone. And that's another kill going into the pockets of Team Tempest Gaming. And unfortunately, they're looking for more. The public execution is going to execute the Alistar. And that's another kill going on to Ethel. Littlefish is all alone. That's going to be another ace. This just might be the end of the game, Flash Nerd.
I think it's over.
The first base tower will fall. The emitter will fall next. TP is coming through from Sim. This might just be the end of the game. The Nexus towers are falling. They're calling for the game in at 28 minutes. Another dominant showing from this roster, this all-star roster, showing just why they are the stars on top of this tournament. 2-0.
Tempest Gaming brings the storm in game 2, especially with that Victor. And living up to their own name, that Tempest was quite strong.
It was. I mean, what a massive showing. I mean, hey, it was a lot closer. It was a lot closer.
Yeah, Unk kind of showing their stuff today.
They did. At the very least, they were able to put up a fight. They actually held their own for a good while. They had the advantages at some points in the game. Unfortunately, they weren't able to hold on to it long enough, just barely slipping away at the very end. But unfortunately, they will, in the end, fall. And it's not over yet. It's match point, but it is 2-0. So it's match point in favor of Tempest Gaming All-Stars. But, you know, it could be a reverse sweep angle.
We have to see. Reverse sweep, possible. But for now, I think we're going to cut to a break. So see you on the other side for the rest of this hype best of 5. We're back.
Welcome back here. Now queuing up into game number 3 here. Match point. Tempest currently 2-0, 2-0. But, you know, it's do or die for Team Unk. If they want to bring home the championship in this grand finals, once again, that, you know, we'll see how it goes. As we're going into draft here, Flash Nerd, how are you feeling about this draft as we're looking at it?
You know what? For the first time this entire series, I might actually say I think I like Unk's comp more here. They've got the Emperor himself, Azir, going for that golden road, but also, I have to note, they put Jarvan into 3 really important units that don't have any dashes, so the Jarvan ult might actually be able to get a lot of value here. Especially
Yeah,
comboing
no,
with that Nico.
I'm in agreement. There's a lot of combinations here. You have the Azir, you have the Emperor's Divide, you have the Cataclysm from the Jarvan, but you also have the Nico and Varus, a lot of AoE ultimates, and now with the Shen to round it out, some much needed frontline and tank. This is actually a monster composition coming from Team Monk. They're pulling
Yeah,
out
I'd
everything.
be kind of scared if I'm Tempest here. I mean, they've got this Rakan, hopefully going to be able to protect them from these combos, maybe get some key charms in the team fights, but if they're not able to protect their team, they might just fall over like dominoes.
Yeah, they absolutely could, but I mean, because again, you have the Mel, you have the Jin, and the Udyr, but I'm a little concerned because we've seen Sim on this Mel before, and we've seen how in the past all it took was one Mel reflect to completely end the game. Fiora is going to be locked in here, so actually, not a lot of tank is coming in from the side of Tempest. They have the Udyr and the Rakan, but not much else. But it could. We'll have to see. I mean, what are you feeling about
I
that? The
mean, not a
Fiora?
lot of tanks on Team Tempest, but wow, they have a lot of damage. That's a
They do.
Fiora, a Mel, and a Jin, and if the Team Monk don't play pretty carefully around their ultimates and their combos, they might just die really early into the fight, not be able to get those objectives like we saw in Game 2 and Game 1, actually.
They could, but I do like to I agree with you. I actually kind of favor Team Monk's team composition because I think there's a lot more cohesive front to back and a lot of different combinations that they can do, and with this kind of team composition, so it's overall not too bad. I think they have a lot more options this time around as compared to last time. Team Tempest, there's a little less in terms of cohesion, but I think they're trusting in their individual skill of getting picks and being able to lock down these solo kills. But we'll have to see how it plays out here. You know, bans are relatively similar. Team Unk trying to focus on banning out Sim and make sure he's not able to play his comfort picks. But the rest of the team also banning out a lot of top laners and, you know, sportman. So they are respecting the skill levels of Jirachi and their support. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I will
But I
say this is
think
the first game that we've seen Varus go unbanned. It's immediately picked first pick here from Unk.
true.
Um,
I mean, I
Another
think
thing, I actually want to say, Unk's one thing that's good for them with this team comp that they haven't had in the past is, for once, the game plan is a lot more clear. So in the
it
past, they've
is.
had these more skirmish heavy comps where the front to back isn't as clear and you don't know which parts of your team are supposed to engage first. Sometimes you go in a little too early, get picked. But now it's pretty clear. You get that setup going and you just spam every single team wide combo and try to wombo combo the enemy team down. Might be able to see some cleaner team fights come out from Team Unk here.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement, but I think we'll have to see as we're going to be loading into the game here. So we're going to cut to a quick break. We'll be right back once we're back in action. Don't go too far.
League of
Yeah,
Legends!
League of Legends, game number 3, match point. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Rah.
And we are back going into match point game number 3 here. How you feeling, Flash Nerd? It's a final game, possibly.
I'm putting it all on Unk here. This is their final stand, their final gambit. They gotta bring it back now or never.
And hey, I know we're sponsored by Gen.G, but Ethel rocking the SKT Telecom 1 Azir skin from EasyHoon. So who knows? Maybe Unk might be trying to pull in some of that T1 magic to clutch up in this best of 5.
Get that Faker Golden Road in.
Yeah, Golden. I mean, hey, hold on though. If we're the Golden Road, but Ruler, the Azir or the Varus is on your team. Hold on.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Guma usually also plays that character a lot.
True,
no worries.
It's okay. We'll see how it all plays out here, but I'm excited.
I mean, you know what they say? All roads lead to Ethel the Tree.
Yeah, Ethel the Tree. True. Well, we'll see how it all plays out here. I'm excited. I like a lot of the champions. Varus and Azir are always very fun to see and watch here. And we have Jirachi on the Shen. They were able to get a kill onto Conquer in the previous matchup. So let's see what they're able to pull out here.
Yeah, I have to say I'm much more optimistic about Unk's team fighting with the comp that they built here, but they do have to get through that laning phase, and a lot of the players on Tempest actually have like a lot of early game advantage here, and they're gonna have to be able to make it out of the laning phase if they want to see that huge wombo combo come out.
Once again, they have, it's one thing to scale the late game, but it's another thing to make it to the late game as well. But we'll see how it plays out. So far, we've been on the trend of we've seen Unk improve slightly, ever so slightly after every game. So who knows?
And they just keep getting better and better. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe in 4 games they'll be at MSI.
Ooh, I like what you're thinking. I think it's the classic T1 run to MSI here. But actually, hold on, Jirachi's gonna get the taunt onto Conquer. A lot of damage. Potions are going to be used up here, but a lot of early game dominance coming in from the Shen.
Yeah, actually turning it around from what you would expect when you have this Fiora on the top lane. If they're not able to win their laning phase, it's going to be rough for them for the rest of the game, as it's a lot harder to get into these team fights if you don't have that gold advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, they do have the gold advantage slightly for the moment, but just losing out a little bit in trades.
I mean, we love Shen.
Yeah, we do love Shen. I mean, hey, Shen's just an awesome character. Like, can we just take a moment to, like, appreciate Shen as a character?
Yeah.
Really cool.
How many times have you all in the chat been saved by a very clutch Shen ult and forgotten to thank them? Now's your time.
Now is your time. I feel like, yeah, 90% of Shen order is given. Really good at being aware and that is good. But yeah, as we're in these early game stage, laning phase, nothing too crazy going on. I mean, what are your thoughts on how the rest of this game's gonna go? Let's take some early games.
Oh, as you say that, something big's happening here in the top lane.
It is big happening. Conquer is flashing, but still gonna flash into Jirachi. It's still going to die. First blood going over to Unk. Jirachi has been an absolute, hasn't been a god tier player for Team Unk. They're being able to secure first bloods in both games 2 and now game 3. So phenomenally well played.
Yeah, Jirachi been one of their few saving graces in these laning phases. Last game we saw pretty good coming out from the bot lane as well, with the key gank coming in, but almost always this Jirachi's been able to get some dominance in the lane and win those 1v1 solo fights, and that's been a huge win for their team, is not having 3 losing lanes as they did in that game 1 allows them to play around these stronger sides.
Hold on, Jirachi's gonna flash out here. Actually, Littlefish is gonna be here to claim the kill. But Conquer now taking the 2 of the tower shots. It was a low. Littlefish is gonna flash over, and for once, the Feudal Warfare is going into in favor of Unk, as Littlefish is going to claim 2 kills.
Wow. 3-1 already, and we're only 4 minutes in. That's the first feat of warfare already getting claimed for Unk. That's a strong start. We haven't seen that as much in this series. Usually a lot slower starts.
Absolutely. I mean, that's phenomenal. That's what you want to see for this team composition. Your Jarvan getting fed this early in can only go uphill from here. I mean, it's already really good. And I also like to point out the value of Shen here, because they not only do they have, the dodge and the armor, but they actually already built the Thornmail. So they had the Grievous Wounds for Conquer and for Crescent, doing so much 80 damage. So they are actually able to get so much value out of that. And
yeah,
so
if I'm this Fiora, 4 minutes in, fighting a Thornmail Shen in lane. I am smacking my head against the wall at a very high velocity.
It's not a good time, and it's only going to get worse as Crescent getting caught out. Another kill. Actually, Aspen taking the kill yet again.
Wow, playing Udi here and being 2 deaths in 5 minutes? I mean, you're losing control of this game quick.
Yeah, and actually, it's for once in this series, Unk with a pretty solid lead up on Team Tempest. This is not what I expected for this game 3 here, but Team Unk, they're feeling good. The first 2 games don't even seem to have dissuaded them. This is a new form that we haven't seen yet at all.
I mean, as we say, Unk gets better and better every single game. Most teams only scale in-game. Unk's actually scale in real life.
Real life, true. Don't worry, guys. We scale outside of the game here, and it's coming to show. They're looking good. Almost a solid 1K, 1.5K gold lead there. But hold on, I might have spoke too soon. Jason Ball is gonna get the 2-man knockout, but Little Fish here gonna get the EQ combo and land onto Jason in the bottle. Gonna use the dash there, but Boster gonna try to find a way. Cataclysm is gonna lock down the Recon, and that is another kill into the pockets of Unk there, and they are looking for more.
I mean, we're just seeing the impact of this Jarvan. It's 3-0-1. They have almost 100% kill participation, which they would have if Jirachi wasn't just getting random kills by themselves.
You know,
absolutely affecting every part of the map.
And it's on the Dragon Spawn too, so actually, Unk is going to claim the first Dragon of the game there. Hold on. Ethel is going to find this Dream Shovel, the Emperor, but it's not going to be enough as Sim just presses R and kills the Azir. This the road has not only led to death, as unfortunately, it's not enough.
It was looking so good. Unfortunately, the way Mel works is they have a button that kills you, so while it was looking good and they had them under tower, they're able to just flash out and say, nope, my turn.
I also just, I like to take this time and just say I absolutely despise Mel as a champion as well. Because, like, you have moments like that. You click R and they immediately die. Literally, the same thing happened in the last series where on that match point final, all Mel did was clicked R and they got a double kill and then proceeded to get a penta like right after that. It's like, what is this champion? Why are we playing this?
That's Mel for you.
That's Mel for you.
We're seeing double microwave in the top lane. Those hot pockets are done even faster than you expected it.
True. But hey, let's see. Ethel. I don't think they're gonna be eager to run that one back here. It's actually Udyr will be hovering there, but G's in the bottle is gonna get the knockup onto Ethel there, but not gonna find too much else. That is able to flash away, but no longer has to flash. So
nice time on that flash. Yeah. Ethel maybe getting a little too big for their britches there, moving that far into the lane.
I do like it because they not only are they able to dissuade any possible dies or kills, but that does give Little Fish the opportunity to claim 3 Void Grubs here. So actually, the objective priority and control is going in favor of Unk, actually.
Yeah, and Unk actually, with this early game, that jungler moving around on the map so heavily is actually one objective away from getting the feats entirely. And if they can get the objective feats and the feat of warfare, like, maybe even before 15 minutes in the game.
Possibly, hey, Little Fish, EQ, gonna try and look for Conquer, but might be a little too far forward. But they might be trying to go for something else. There are 3 members up in the top side, so because they did opt for a little bit of lane swap here. So Conquer is unfortunately 1v3, but the same thing can be said for Jirachi, who's actually currently 1v1 against the Gen. But
yeah, I do like Jirachi's chances a lot more in this 2v1. They're actually much more fed, and they have that Bramble Vest, gonna be able to actually even like go onto this Gen and put pressure on them.
Yeah, indeed they are, and actually Jirachi is currently not even a 1v2, it's a 1v1, so their odds are looking much better as Little Fish is going to hover mid, get some much needed pressure and priority for Ethel, because it seems like this mid lane has been the weak point throughout this entire series, especially considering the monster that is Sim on these mid lane champions. So I think, once again, they need more care. They need to make sure this Mel isn't able to scale, because otherwise they click R and the entire team dies and there's another pentakill and it just becomes a highlight reel.
Yeah, unfortunately that future is getting closer and closer as we're seeing Sim actually have a sizable CS lead and already have that kill. That gold lead's getting out of control quickly.
This man is farming like Chovy. He's looking like Thanos out here.
Oh, absolutely. And while the rest of the map is looking much better for Unks, can't help but be a little scared that they might have tables turned on them by a key mid-fight.
true. But I mean, hey, still, this Jarvan is 3-0. We can't discredit that. Have their first item locked in. The Summoned Sky is purchased. On top
They're
of
making
this,
Demacia proud.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, that's the Crown Prince Demacia.
Wait,
sure
the Nico is in the bush. They've gone unnoticed. They're flanking now. There's nowhere to run. Jarvan from one side, stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, Pop Block's going to be used up. Boaster's going to use the cleanse, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be 1v2. Meanwhile, Jason Nabato is going to be absolutely murdered by Littlefish. Another kill, and that's going to be enough. Hold on, Flash going to come on through, but Boaster, 1 HP in a dream. Can they do it? Is barely living, is able to go to flash out of the turret range and survive. Aspen taking another kill.
Remember, kids, that's why you check your bushes. That Nico hiding in that brush there, absolutely destroying the enemy bot lane, and that's going to be even more gold going to that huge Jarvan pick.
Indeed, but the TP is going to come on through. Jirachi is up in the top side, going to get bursted down, stun locked up. Are they going to be able to get away? I don't think the answer is yes, as actually Sim will finish them off with the execute proc. So unfortunately, Tempest Gaming do take 1 kill back. But at the end of the day, Aspen is able to get away.
Yeah, Sim taking advantage of the fact that this Shen has been building around anti-AD, building that Bramble Vest. Not really a shred of MR here, and they're able to tank them down, especially with the basically permanent slow coming out from the Udyr.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, at the very least, it's not a kill onto Jarvan, so there's no shutdown being traded over. So
that is
Jarvan
true.
Is still starting to scale up a little bit behind in CS.
I do want to point out, if we look at the top lane KD, Shen on the side of Team Unks actually disproving the rumors and proving that they can actually count to 3 in the top lane. That's a rare sight to see.
1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, they kind of get a little lost around 4 and 5, but they do have the 6, 7. But hold on here. The ultimate Littlefish is going to get stunned up there. Rooted is actually going to come on through onto Sim. Crescent's going to get locked up, but the Ember's Divide is going to land onto the Udyr. And the tree barely living as to claim another kill, but Boster is getting run down by Littlefish. They're going for more. Jirachi's going to get the taunt as well onto Jesus in the bottle, but it's not going to be enough there. Boster will finally go down. Shen is going to be rooted there. It's going to be a 2-0 in favor of Unk. Again, this is a massive tempo boost in the onto the side of Unk that we just haven't seen throughout this entire series. They're 9-3, a sizable gold advantage, and now claiming another dragon there. They're actually, Jesus in the bottle and Sim are going to try and go for a steal, but they're actually going to be forced to back away. It's a second dragon in the pocket of Unk, and just like that, for the first time, Tempest Gaming does not have any objectives.
Yeah, I mean, Unk's taken every single one. This Jarvan is absolutely demolishing the enemy Udyr in terms of jungle prile. They're 5-0-2, like around 80% KP. They've just been making impact everywhere on the map over and over again. They don't even have any room to breathe, as Mel has been the only one really untouched by this Jarvan, who's been wreaking havoc across the map.
Absolutely, and so with that, actually, they do have the feats of warfare. Ethel going to actually dash on through. Jesus in the bottle going to use the quickness to try and go for an engage, but it's not going to be enough. This bottom tower is getting shredded, though, so that is a lot of gold going into the pockets of Crescent and Sim. Aspen here to try and dissuade anything else. But, they won't be able to claim it, but once again, they do have the upgraded tier 2, they do have the upgraded boots now because they have claimed the feats of war, so that is a sizable advantage that could make all the difference going into the late game.
Oh yeah, and we're seeing the first fight between these two top laners that we've seen in a while. Maybe it's Fiora's scaled a little bit past the early game advantage that the Shen has, as they're being chunked down really hard by those Fiora procs on the passive there.
I mean, to be fair, Fiora does have the Ravenous Hydra already built up, and Shen does not have their first item either, so...
Yeah, they have not backed in a while. They've been kind of just helping.
CS. Yeah, they are down 20 CS, so not the most ideal. But, at the very least, I think they'll be...
Not that it matters when that's happening in your mid lane.
Yeah, mid lane, Boster just completely dies. 0-3 is not having a good time on this Jhin. Unk is feeling good. Jarvan's 5-0. That is a much needed kill going over to Microwave Matt. So this Varus could be an absolute threat. They do have the Arcane Comet, so it's going to be more of a poke Varus, but... it still isn't to say that it can't do damage going into the victory.
I think getting a poke Varus here is honestly exactly what you want. There's a lot of scary threats on the enemy side here, as Tempest actually has a lot of ways to just get on your ADC way quicker than you want them to, and burst them down to 1 HP before they can even do anything. So having a lot more burst damage from that poke build instead of going for a more kind of scaling build might be a good play here from team.
Yeah, possibly. I think we'll have to see how it all plays out. I mean, considering there isn't too much armor or MR being built up from the side of Tempest All-Star, so going lethality, like poke lethality, is actually not a bad option here. It's actually, hold on. Crescent will be caught out, or will be spotted as Littlefish looks to start up this Rift Herald. It is on vision, so Tempest Gaming is fully aware that this Rift Herald is being started up.
Yeah, but what can they do about it? I mean, this 5-0-3 Jarvan is honestly looking unkillable on the map here. They've just been able to stake their claim on every single objective on the map, placing that flag of Demacia, claiming it for their country. Brings tear to my eye.
It does. It fills you with pride, doesn't it? But they're not to say that Tempest Gaming isn't completely out, because they actually are keeping the balance pretty sizable there. Hold on. Emperor's Divide going to be used up onto Decent Ball, but it's still going to be stunned out. They're playing around his own tower, and is able to live with the Stand United coming in from Jirachi. So actually, very well played, able to not give over any other picks. But yeah, no, as I was saying, it's like, throughout most of this game, the first tower did actually go over to Sim, because this entire team, even though they are very behind in kills, their CS lead is actually looking pretty sizable. So, like, I mean, Sim and Crescent have a pretty sizable gold lead. Same thing with Conquer. It's only this bot lane that, for the first time, has been really struggling throughout this game.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing Unk spend a lot less time in their lane, a lot more time in the enemy's face, trying to go for kills more often. And
True.
while it is true that... Oh.
Ethel.
Wait a minute.
Ethel. Ultimate's going to come through. Flash is going to be coming on through as well, but Ethel is going to fall in the end, even though Conquer does take tower shots. A solo kill going over to Team Tempest. And that's what...
Emperor has been conquered.
Unfortunately, they have. The riposte is just not enough. They were able to finally get that much needed kill. And just like that, that does give a little bit of priority and tempo over to Tempest Gaming, the All-Stars there. Actually, they're going to look to fight in mid. The team is going to come through, but the pop loss onto 3, and the Cataclysm is going to find the kill, but they're not able to lock it down anymore. Sim is going to get the shutdown onto the Varus as well, and hey, Littlefish is going to try and go for more. Jirachi is also here. It's a 3v4, but they could manage it if they want to. Gets to the very low. Jirachi's going to be rooted down. The curtains are going to be called there, but there is no target. Littlefish is trying to chase, but they're not able to find anything. The dragon is spawned, but just like that, Tempest Gaming do have to back away. 1 kill richer, nonetheless. And actually, Sim is 3-0 with a sizable lead now. But at the very least, could have been worse.
I mean, Tempest didn't even play that fight badly, right? They played around the ultimates, avoided some of them, weren't able to get fully the wombo comboed. But in the end, they do all their damage in the fight. And this Jarvan is standing almost not damaged at all and is just chasing you down. So fed, so strong. It's really hard to deal with if you're Tempest here.
Absolutely. So Sim actually just gets a huge win because they're able to get the kill onto Michael and Matt, and they're able to wait scot-free. So this Mel is 3-0, has 4 Dark Shield stacks. I would be scared. I would be concerned because I think
that is a very scary note.
Even though that Unk are on Soul Point and it is Ocean Soul, that'll give them some much needed. But now the gold lead is actually dead even. So Team Unk, even though they're ahead in kills, they have to be very, very careful how this one plays out, because if they're not able to kill or able to lock down Sim and not able to finish them off, then this could be a lot of trouble. Actually, hold on, Reflect is actually going to be used up by Sim. They're trying to go for an ultimate kill angle here, and so they're just sieging onto this bot tier 2. There's nothing that Echo can do but watch as his tower gets bursted down. Even the Krug is joining in.
Get a little bit of support out from the jungle. Why not?
Hey, I mean, you know, they need to make a sacrifice.
Actually, we're seeing a cross-map trade here. On the other side, we've got Rift Herald getting that jungle advantage. The difference between the speeds that they're able to take this tower is coming out here from these objective steals. And yeah, it's going to deal huge damage to the inhib turret.
Wow, and actually that does give them some much-needed mid-prow as they're going to posture for, I believe, Soul, but it's also not up. So
they've still got a while.
they've got a while before that's up, but it is.
I do believe the next objective coming up is also in that bot lane, though, as Otacon is on the timer, but they're not here yet.
Ooh, in less than a minute, you're exactly right. Otacon coming up very shortly, very soon. Which I think they're going to try and push in for that one, as Ethel will use the ability to get that another turret back up in the bot lane. Not the same thing as his former glory, but at the
We
very
can
least,
see we're kind of feeling that momentum shifting ever so slightly as time goes on towards the favor of Tempest Gaming as this Mel gets more in time to shine, and they're just taking that CS, getting those minions up, getting their money up before their funny up. But that just means that Unk is gonna have to secure these objectives before it falls too far out of their hands. They've secured this early game. They're at Soul Point. They've got the advantage for now. They need to keep it going just long enough to get those late game scaling things like the Dragon Soul, and then they might have a way to close this game out before the Tempest Gaming can really scale past what they.
Yeah, but hold on here. Actually, Charm's gonna come through. The Quickness coming through from Jason the bottom. Curtain's call will be called. But just like that, the ultimate coming through from Sim is not enough, as Ethel will actually find the Ember's Divide. Cataclysm will go down and will be killed off. But it's a double kill for the Azir. Sim finally falls, and Microwave Matt will claim a kill. And just like that, as the dust settles, a 3-for-1 in favor of Unk. But unfortunately, Little Fish will fall and give over a shutdown to the Udyr, which isn't the best.
At least it didn't go to that Mel. I mean,
yeah, at least it didn't go.
The raid boss does finally fall on the side of Team Unks, but I mean, there's more than one person on this team, and the rest are able to quickly mop up the fight that was spiraling out of control for Team Tempest Gaming, as a lot of their utility and damage was being spent on this Jarvan, who's such a big threat that the damage dealers in the backline are able to fully just play the way they want to. Azir almost not even being hit that fight. They're able to just freely deal damage, burst down this Mel, get what they're looking for.
I actually do like it. I don't think Tempest Gaming played that bad at all, because even though they're able to evade the Pop Blossom with the exception of Crescent, but they make use of the Cataclysm and all that chaos to use the Curtain Call, and they're able to get a sizable Mel ult, and that is what is able to finally get so much damage onto the Jarvan. They're actually going to look for it yet again. Crescent here, Littlefish using the EQ is going to get rooted, but the rest of the team is here to save the day. Cataclysm is going to be used up as well. The Pop Blossom is here, flashing on through, is going to lock down Crescent, but it's far too late as Littlefish has already fallen, but Ethel and the rest of the team are here to support. It's over for the Jirachi is going to go through, is going to find the top, but it's not going to be too much. Root is going to come through, and Jirachi will fall. This might be a throw from Unk. It's just like that. No. 2 kills going over to Tempest Gaming, and it's on the Otacon spawn.
I mean, you hate to see Team Unk falling into bad habits. I mean, we saw this so much in Game 1 and 2, but we hadn't seen it today. Right before an objective starts, they're getting picked by themselves in the jungle. This happens so much and was the reason why they fell so behind in tempo earlier. I thought they finally learned their lesson, but no. Littlefish sticking around just a little bit too long as they get engaged on and picked right before Otacon is taken. And yeah, all of a sudden things are looking up for Tempest Gaming, and Unk's getting a little worried here.
A little worried there, because they know they're starting to realize, hey, okay, this Jarvan can't get away with everything. You know, they're not the raid boss that they used to be. They need to be a little more careful than that. And
yeah,
so
by this
now,
point in the game, the damage dealers on Tempest Gaming have scaled to the point where Jarvan's honestly not that tanky. While they still do a huge amount of damage and can kill you before you can really see it coming, by themselves, with your whole team, they're not lasting long.
They're not lasting too long. Obviously, they still have a little bit of a lead, but because that is Tempest Gaming's first objective of this game, and Dragon.
They do that get that Otacon, but Dragon is up, and that is Soul if Unk is able to get this. So they're going to be playing for that.
It's also important to note that Aspen and Jirachi both do not have flash. Curtains are called onto Aspen. The Nico is going to be very low here, posturing for a little bit more there. They have the priority. The ultimates are going to start to come on out here as the Phoenix form from the Udyr is coming on through. Walking forward, they're very scared to fight this. Jirachi is going to get rooted here. The Quickness is coming on through, and it's a massive double knock up here. The Ember's Divide is going to go through, and it's a massive Pop Blossom coming in for Aspen, but it's not going to be enough. There's no damage as the Shen is going to fall. Ethel and Littlefish have to back away there. It is 2v4, and they're looking for more. The Azir is going to be rooted, and the Emperor will fall. Littlefish was the once the raid boss, but now is the only one left standing. Has to flash away. Is going to use the EQ, try and get away. And just like that, it's a horror. The tides of Ward have scaled.
Oh,
they have turned into the favor of Tempest Gaming. The all-star team have finally endured the waves. Unfortunate as it is, 4-for-1. Even though Boster does fall, the rest of the team has scaled up now. Sim has 6 kills into their name. 7 now with Littlefish finally falling in the end. That is 10 Dark Seal stacks for this Mel, and I think this might be the beginning of the end. What once looked so close, looked so good for Unk, has turned against their favor, and now Sim just reflects the the root back at to this Nico. Even though it's the first dragon for Tempest Gaming, it's looking grim. It's looking grim.
Suddenly an even game. It's moved all the way to a 3k gold lead for Tempest Gaming here. And man, Unk fans in the chat, hold your family close. We might be seeing the end here.
It might
They've got
be.
a 7-1 and 3 Mel. They've got 10 stacks on their Dark Seal, and they've already built Rabadon's 3 items entirely. I mean, that's a monster.
This might be the beginning of the end here, because there's just no longer enough follow-up damage. Unk is not able to find that cohesive team fighting that they so desperately need. Even if the ultimates are able to land, there's just not enough coordination here. But
I was seeing a little bit of an issue in target prow. Littlefish and Ethel the Tree, the 2 strongest people on this team, both diving by themselves onto this Jhin, and
hold on, and divide onto 2. The Shurima Shuffle will land. Crescent is going to be knocked up, and they will find the pick onto Crescent. Massive shutdown going into Matt. The curtains will be called, but they're not going to find any targets or kills to call upon. But just like that, they will claim the scuttle. And Littlefish with the EQ, using the bottle, is going to use the quickness, going to find the charm onto the Jarvan, but it's not going to be enough. They're trying to peel for Sim. It's not enough. This Mel is going to be shut down. The G's in the bottle can't save the day. There's no miracles to be had. It's just like that. The tides have served into the favor of Unk as they are going to start up this Baron.
Unk fans, we are so back! Finally getting a taste of their own medicine. This time it's Tempest Gaming getting a pick right before an important fight. And Baron's gonna go to the way of Unk Gaming off of that huge play from Jarvan.
And that's absolutely massive. We thought, yeah, I mean, hey, they showed us. We thought that this was the beginning of the end. We saw this one before. But it's actually Tempest Gaming that actually fall first. Crescent getting caught out by the Pop Blossom and the Jarvan, and suddenly, even though she's in the bottle and Sim trying to back away and the Recon is trying to peel, it's just not enough. Suddenly, Ethel's there. Suddenly, the Jarvan is going to EQ and use the Cataclysm, and suddenly, there's 3 members of Tempest Gaming that are gone. So,
I mean, if you weren't convinced on the Jarvan MVP for this game, you gotta be after that. Taking their team out of the gutter, suddenly it's turned all the way around in their favor. Now they have the slight gold advantage. They've equalized it, but importantly, they've got this Baron going up, and if they can get some prio right now, secure that Dragon Soul, they can turn this game around entirely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, hey, we're back into this game. They're showing, Unk is showing the game that, you know, it's not over yet. The bells haven't rung yet. There's no end of the game until the Nexus has fallen. So they are still in it, and they're still here to win. As they're going to be pushing out these side lanes. The Baron buff by their side. Still in it, and they're still fighting, they're still kicking. They still have the damage that you need for these different fights, if they can pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing little fish here. They might be little, but they're having big impact. I mean, everyone on the enemy team is just kind of running in fear from this Jarvan, as they know one wrong step and boom, Cataclysm and you're toast.
I mean, hey, Littlefish is showing them it's always the little ones that you have to be concerned about. But hold on, they actually might be caught out. Microwave Matt is going to be caught out. The curtains will be called. Pop Blossom is going to land onto the Recon, so nothing too much here. Cataclysm is going to be locked down into 3. Rue onto 3 as well. The Recon will finally fall, but so will the Jarvan. Crescent is going to fall as well, but the Fiora is absolutely frying. Riposte going to come through, but it's Ton Jirachi with the peel. But just like that, the Ember's Divide is going to miss. Ethel is going to get bursted down by Sim, and the Mel ult is going to find its kill. And just like that, it will be a 3-for-3, a dead even tie. The mid laner and bot lane of Tempest Gaming still scaling, still shining on through and standing tall. So even though it's a dead even trade, that's another kill going to the pockets of this Mel. So it's still...
I mean, that team fight went really well for Unk considering how it started. I mean, they almost got caught out there, but masterful weaving in and out of the fight by the Jarvan, able to get so much CC there. The front line gets melted down while the back line's not even really there yet. Jhin and Mel are in the back dealing their damage, but they're not able to get into the meat of this fight. And Unk able to come out even in what looked pretty bad for them.
It did, but I have to speak to, we do have to pay attention to and keep an eye on the upcoming fight, because the next dragon will be up very shortly, and Team Unk, they used all of their flashes in that fight. Unfortunately, the Varus was forced to flash out there away from the Recon, and so every single member of Team Unk has their flash that is now gone. Meanwhile...
Also some important ults here. Shen and Azir don't have their ult for this fight.
Exactly, which I believe will be up relatively soon, but I don't think it's going to be soon enough here, as actually Sim still has Flash. They still have the ultimates. Fiora didn't even use Flash or their ultimates, and does still have TP. So it's going to be very concerning as they are going to look to sponsor this one up here. It's actually the Varus ult is going to go wide. Bomb Blossom is going to find it onto 3. A lot of stuns coming on through. Just like that, the Mel is going to fall. Microwave Matt is absolutely frying them. There's so much damage being popped out here. The Nico is going to find another kill. Crescent will fall as well. And just like that, it's on the opposite end. It is 4 for nothing.
I think that's game.
This might be good. Yeah, you're right. This might
They're
be game.
posturing for the end. They think it's over.
They're pausing for the end. They're trying to take the win as it is. This victory is just nearly in sight there. It is only Conquer against the world. This Fiora is the only one standing against the rest of the team for 10 seconds until Jason the Ball is going to be back up soon. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. They're going to be trying there. Conquer is going to dive on in. Going to use the riposte. Is going to be able to lock down the wave. And they're going to try and go for more, but it will be the ace in the end. Jason Ball is going to be finally back up. This might have been a much needed time they are the bot. They have to back away. Aspen is so deadly low. Unfortunately, not able to end just yet as they're able to finally back away, but still a much needed win that they needed. They actually might not be backing off. They might be going for the dragon here. Going to try and lock down the soul. I'm not too sure about this. The rest of the team of Team Tempest All-Stars is back up. They know that they're going for it.
And they just want to get this and get out. I do think they have time to get it. Now the question is, can they escape with their lives?
Can they escape with their lives? Curtains will be called here. It actually might be the flip here, but they're actually going to be able to secure the soul, and they're going to back away. The ult is going to be used up to make sure Jason the Ball cannot follow. Beautifully well played as they're able to make it out with their lives.
All right.
My goodness.
Doesn't end the game, but they come out of that fight with an open Nexus towers. The inhib does fall, and they get that Dragon Soul. Suddenly, Team Unk looking like the stronger team here. I mean, they played that fight amazingly. That huge Rakan ult turned on their head, as even while they're getting knocked up by the Charm and the Rakan W, the Pop Blossom comes through, hits 3, and the huge Wombo combo comes out for Team Unk, and we're starting another fight here.
Absolutely, they're starting another fight there as Crescent is going to be caught out way too early. It's going to fall, or actually will live for a little bit longer. Jirachi and Ethel going to make the turn. Crescent eventually does fall. The Udyr going down finally, and their jungler is going to be down. And Baron is going to be up very soon. So that is a critical member of Tempest All-Stars that is finally fallen. And I'm actually, yeah, they might be looking for more here. Jason the Bottle might be caught out there. Baron is going to be finally starting on through. Jirachi is massive, is so tanky on this Shen. There's no damage. They're actually going to go for the Rakan. Chunked out, has to back away. The Baron has finally spawned up here. They are going to look to start it up. There might be a force here. But
yeah, I mean, there doesn't seem to be an entrance for Tempest Gaming to really enter here.
Yeah, but I'm kind of concerned this might turn into a flip as the rest of Tempest Gaming are going to walk up forward. They're actually going to finish
secured.
it. But Jirachi is rooted down. There's so much damage going onto the Shen. They have to back away. But will they be able to get away with their lives here? But the Mel ult will finish the Shen in the end. Pop Blossom going to land onto Conquer. Going to be used up as they're trying to get away. But Aspen, are they able to get away? Is going to use the Blast Cone. But this might not be enough here. The riposte is going to be coming through. But Littlefish is here. You're going to use the EQ Flash. But it's not going to be enough. The shutdown going over to this Fiora. So 2 members of Unk will fall for the Baron. But at the very least, they have something which is better than nothing.
They preserve the buff on 3, which is usually enough to go for some power players.
And it's on the critical members of Team Unk because it is on the Azir, the Jarvan, and the Varus. I wouldn't count them out yet, but it is a long time they'd have to endure the siege as the rest of Team Tempest is knocking at their doors. Conquer taking a few tower shots, but I think they will back away for now.
Yeah, at this point it's going to be hard to siege. The Baron minions are going to come up now that the teammates are here, and going to be basically impossible to go for that tower now as Team Tempest Gaming is forced to back off, and we're seeing a bit of a lull in the match.
A little bit.
I mean, looking to engage, but I do believe Tempest Gaming can just walk out.
Yeah, they absolutely can. But I mean, hey, honestly, all things considered, this is a much closer match than I anticipated to be. Considering that Unk, they have Soul, they have 4 Drakes, they have 3 Void Grubs, they have Baron, they have everything except for the Otacon here. It's a much closer game than I thought it would be. Still 4K gold lead going into the favor of Unk, but now we're starting to cross into the late game where all these different champions are going to be at their strongest regardless of kill count here. I mean, taking a look at a sim, they have full items with the exception of the Dark Seal, which I believe is going to change, or actually they're going to sell it, actually, not for Medjai's, but instead for Morello's, well, what it could be for Grievous Wounds, which might be for the Shen, which is much needed.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, we're seeing on the other side also building some anti-heal on Team Unk for that Fiora, who has been one of the monsters in this game. We're seeing Fiora and Mel have these huge impact. Their carries are basically using hero plays, standing tall and carrying their team through a game that could have been a much worse stomp than it would have been otherwise.
Absolutely, but this might be they might be calling for the end here. Team Unk is knocking at the doors here. The Crescent is getting poked out. This Varus doing so much damage, but Ethel will be rooted out by the Deadly First. The curtains will be called here, but Jirachi is here to tank and stop them from getting any kills. But meanwhile, Littlefish is actually gonna be caught out, gonna have to use the EQ to get away there. The Reflect is gonna land onto the Nico here, but it's gonna be reversed as the Pop Blossom lands onto 2. But just like that, Microwave Matt is gonna go down. The Ember's Divide, it's not gonna be enough, and it's a Horus. Actually, Littlefish has to flash away. Ethel's gonna be the only one left standing there, but Jirachi doesn't have enough damage there. They're gonna hide behind the tower of the Azir, but it's not gonna be enough. They're just trapped between a rock and a hard place here, but actually will not be enough. Using the ball will go down, and it's going to be a kill going over to the Zir. And just like that, it is 4-for-1 in favor of Tempest Gaming. It's a back and forth series.
Unk were looking so in control of the map, but Littlefish getting caught away from the rest of their team, and suddenly the fight is turned around completely. Another big reflect coming out from Mel here, rooting 2 from a Nico.
You can't be hitting these reflects like this. You can't be throwing these roots knowing that Sim is going to reflect them. This was the exact same thing that happened in the last series, and it almost cost them the entire series.
And this is a bad time to get Tempest Gaming a little more control of the map, as Elder Spawn is coming up soon. You've taken that soul, which gives you a bit of a strength boost, but now Elder is on the table, and if Tempest Gaming are able to take this Elder Dragon and just turn the game around completely, the game might actually be over for Unk way sooner than we thought it would be.
It actually might be, as it's going to be full build, going to be locked in for a lot of these champions here. Mel is at full strength, no items left. Is more than likely going to have gonna get a potion as well in addition to it. So this Mel is so dangerous. You can't be making mistakes like this and giving Mel that window to use your own CC against you. Because even though the Miko is able to get the Pop Blossom onto 2, there's just no longer any coordination as Microwave Matt just gets decimated and evaporated. But they're actually going to go for more here, as actually Jirachi taking a fair bit of damage here. Back and forth, Elder is up. This might be the flip that they are going for. 27-22, dead even gold. It is down to the wire in this game number 3. Match point for Tempest Gaming. They want to close it out here, but Unk, they have to have one last chance, one last fight in them, for one last breath of life for this tournament in this grand final. Can they finish this? One of Littlefish is going to go on through. Crescent's getting poked out by this Varus. So much damage here. The Phoenix form from the Udyr is going to be used up here. But
both teams just walking back and forth. They're waiting for someone to make a mistake here.
They are, but they're actually going to go on through. Pop Blossom's going to land onto 3. Conquer, but using the bottle, it's going to finally fall. Crescent's going to be up next on the menu. Sim is going to be able to kill before the ult lands. And just like that, the Illuminati team, the curtains are going to be called. The only ones whose curtains are called is going to be that of Tempest Gaming. The All-Stars have fallen in the very last step. At the very end. It's not going to be enough, as Foster will fall. It will be the ace for Unk. They've had enough. They said, don't bury me yet. It is not the end just yet, but it will be the end of this game number 3.
Fake comeback. Unk finally able to take control of this game that they were supposed to have won maybe a while ago with a few less mistakes, and man, that's gotta feel good. Finally taking a game off of these Tempest Gaming people. It will not be a 3-0. We are going to game 4, and we are going to see Unk turning it around for the first time in this series.
For the very first time, a win has been taken. One map has been taken off of Tempest Gaming All-Stars. The Kings can bleed, and I think Unk are feeling good about that victory.
If they can keep this up, we might be seeing a reverse sweep going all the way.
Suddenly, what was once a 3-0 sweep has turned into a reverse sweep dream that is very well alive. So, hey, I mean, very well
Unk believers in the chat, you know what to do. All in, don't actually gamble, don't do that.
Don't do it, don't do it. But
don't.
Nonetheless, what you do need to do is don't go anywhere just yet. Stick around. We'll be right back in this spicy game number 4. This best of 5 has only just begun. We'll see how it turns out. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
And welcome back to game number 4 here. Just when we thought it would be a quick 3-0, Unk has brought it back. The reverse sweep dream is very well alive. Game number 4, we're drafting. Flash Nerd, how we feeling after that banger of a game number 3?
I'm been completely turned around. I'm an Unk believer. They're taking it all the way. We're going game 5. I'm saying it here and now. Old dogs can learn new tricks, and Unks are taking it all the way.
We are absolutely seeing it here in this draft. You have the Rumble Pantheon Talia combo, an absolute force to be reckoned with, and none other on blue side to be less. That's been considered by many to be a non-negotiable. You cannot let Pantheon through, but here it is. And on top of that, paired off with the Zai and Renata, a very strong bot lane combo as well. But Tempest Gaming also responding with a monster draft of their own. Rel Oriana, a good combination alongside that of Oriana like Nocturne, but you have the Viego, the Camille, and Kaylin to pair on with it. A lot of these champions are just going to go on in. They're here to dive on in and try and force a fight. So I think this is what better than a game number 4 draft.
Yeah, but I do want to point out that the strongest champion in the lobby, also being played by the hero of last match, Unk's very own Little Fish on what is widely considered to be the strongest jungler, Pantheon here, looking to do the exact same thing they did last game.
I mean, hey, what a fitting character for the absolute bright light of Team Unk here. Pantheon, the mortal will, for the guy who's been pretty much the last hope and bright light for this team. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what he is able to do with
the
this
prodigal
champion.
uncle himself. And I do like that they are playing around these team fight heavy comps now. They in the first 2 games weren't looking too strong with these scaling more light ult heavy, not as ult heavy comps, but now fully teched in. We got that Rumble ult, got that Pantheon, Renata ult. Looking hard to win a team fight here if you don't play it right on the side of Tempest Gaming.
Yeah, and I like to see it from the side of Tempest as well. They realized the error of their ways that, okay, their last team composition was kind of way too focused on individual picks. Not to say that this one isn't. It still has that pick and lane prowess, but it's also like, okay, we have some cohesion in front of back gameplay because you have the Rel and Oriana, not to mention with the Viego, and that can create some much needed space because while you're dealing with the people who are going in, there's still Kaylin on the back line, not only zoning with the traps, but doing so much damage. But, you know, I think, yeah, what better for a draft for game number 4 here? I think let's see how it takes it home. But I do like the composition for Unk because with the Talia and the Rumble, they want you to go in on them. They want you to dive on in. And
that's worked a lot better for Unk. Tempest Gaming almost always ends up going for that engage. And we saw last match, they were able to turn around with that Pop Blossom. They're hoping to do the same thing here with the Renata ult. And yeah,
absolutely.
Maybe they can get the same thing going.
Oof. I mean, I can only hope. I mean, hypothetically, like, if in your position, like, what do you think? Is there anything you would change about on either of these comps, or do you think this is as good as it gets?
I think, okay, personally, I have not been the biggest believer in Viego just as a character. I do think that if you have that huge micro gameplay, you might be able to turn stuff around, get those resets going and carry a match all by yourself. But when you're going against a team with this strong of characters like Unk and like they got that Renata and that Pantheon who are very good at turning around the fights where you start it, oftentimes your momentum is going to get stopped in its tracks and suddenly you're down a jungler in these important objective fights.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, I'm interested to see how it turns out because for one of the things is that throughout this entire series is Crescent, the jungler for Tempest, has been on these carry junglers for most of the match. They were on the Xin now on the Viego. It wasn't until last game that their jungler was on Udyr, which arguably I wouldn't say is really a tank or isn't really a carry per se. They're more of a tank jungler. So I'm interested to see how they respond with into the Pantheon here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a huge jungle diff coming out last game, and now both these characters are back on ego characters. We're seeing a Pantheon versus Viego, who's going to be able to carry for their team a little more here. And I mean, I'm going to have to bet on Little Fish here, but we'll see if the jungler on Tempest Gaming can turn the story around and say, hey, I can do it too.
Let's see. The seeds of change are beginning to be sown here. Unk now 2-1. They have that one victory. The reverse sweep angle is still there. It could possibly be very well true. We will have to see. But as we're loading into the game here and finishing up the draft, we're going to cut to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Unk for the win.
And we're back. Unfortunately, sorry about the delay. Unfortunately, we have some really sad news. So, due to technical issues regarding some of the Team Unks, one of their players, after speaking with officials, they have unfortunately come to the conclusion that they will be forfeiting. They will be giving 1 point over to Team Tempest All Stars, which that results in a 3-1 victory in favor of Tempest All Stars. So it's an unfortunate anticlimactic ending, but sadly, yeah, Tempest Tempest All Stars will be your Summer Splash 2025 champions.
So congrats to them. They definitely earned it. This is no random win. They were looking strong in these first 3 games, but definitely not the finish we were looking for.
Unfortunately, yeah, we wish we could hold out for much longer, but unfortunately there is no delay, or we don't want to delay it any longer. And so as a result,
Before we send you off to someone else, just gotta quickly shout out the sponsor for this tournament. Thank you to Gen.G. They are out here emphasizing esports excellence, pioneering education development, and innovative technology integrations. Gen.Z is a global thought leader fostering a new generation for gaming. Beyond competitive success, Gen.G has established Gen.G Academy and mentoring programs on collegiate campuses to nurture the next generation of talent. And they also remain committed to diversity and inclusion in gaming with our Gen.G Foundation and scholarships. Yeah, shout out Gen.G. They were able to fund this tournament and support it.
And so, yeah, Team Tempest All Stars, the All Stars team coming out on top here. They will be awarded with the $500 Puma X Gen.G gift card to their shop, in addition to the 5 gift cards, I believe, to Amazon. Yeah, so Team Tempest All Stars, they brought it home. They are your Summer Splash 2025 champions. And before we send you off, that's going to be it from me and Flash Nerd here. Thank you so much for sticking with us throughout thick and thin throughout this entire tournament and all its glory. Thank you so much for watching. We hope to catch you again next year. But until then, see you next time.
To meet everybody and tour all of the different facilities. It was the first taste that